No, I have headphones, but we
I,
both of us. Yeah.
Start your day with Baton Rouge's hub for information and opinion.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion.
Here is Brian Haldane.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Mornings with Brian Haldane. Without Brian Haldane, as you heard yesterday with Macon, who did a great job. Brian is off for the rest of the year. That's always an interesting phrase. Off for the rest of the year. I'm Haggai Davis II, along with.
Haggai Davis the third.
So you got a pair of hags who are going to host for you today, and we're going to have some fun. If you're not familiar, we host the Tech Gumbo radio show together.
Have a great time doing so.
And so we'll do some technology review, a review of Tech Gumbo for a bit. What happened over the past year with the show. It's always fun to do. We're gonna have Mike Manning come in, talk to us about his time with the food bank. Mike is now retired from the food bank, and then he's going to introduce his successor, and also Barbara Auten from the Alzheimer's Services of Baton Rouge is going to join us. And so we're going to have some fun this morning, and it's always fun to do this.
Yeah, it's become basically a tradition at this point in time that whenever I'm back in town for Christmas, the one show we do during this time of year while Brian's off.
Yeah, it's really has become, this is third, fourth year in a row to do this together like this so thank you for joining us. We're gonna have some fun, I hope. Start off with a little bit of news and updates kind of stuff of what's been going on around the world. Apparently we decided we don't like a particular dock somewhere in Venezuela, and we wanted to rearrange it for them.
How kind of us. How thoughtful.
Yeah, this is not something I'm really excited about. It was one thing to pick off some boats out in the middle of the Caribbean, but to go onshore as it is.
I think the thing that I would like the most is just some coherent statement about what is our plan? What is our end goal here? Help me understand what we're trying to achieve as a country. And that way I'll feel better about knowing, are we moving in a direction? Is this part of some grand plan? What do we want to have happen at the end of all of this? I think that's what would help me feel better here.
Yeah, that would be good to have, like a plan of some sort. Because it doesn't feel like we really know, let's just sporadically do things.
And it's also, who all knows about this? How are they planning what they're doing? Those types of questions, obviously we're not going to get the answers beforehand on a lot of these, but I think after they happen, being clear with the American public that, some sort of statement about, we think that this doc had blank. Because it looks like a lot of this stuff has been leaked. A lot of it's come out through unofficial channels. And so just tell me straight from your mouth. Let me hear your reasoning for it. Let me hear your rationale for it. I think that would, again, go a long way to help me feel better about it.
Is certainly one of the stories we talked about early on in the year is, do we need to all get in on the Signal app to find out what's going on?
Yeah, that that story was pretty ridiculous in a lot of ways. That there's a reason that group texts aren't considered secure communication, and I would like to not have to, join all of the different chatting apps and hope that one day I just get put into them to have the better view.
So, okay, that's concerning. That are we going to getting into a ground war somewhere? Nobody wants that. What else we got going on out there?
Here in Louisiana, anything fun happening?
Well, so they've been burning cane, and apparently everybody in South Louisiana has forgotten that we burn cane every year, and that the ashes float around out there. And so when we burn the cane, when the ashes fall on your house or on your car or whatever, just pull a hose out and hose it down. Don't pull out your leaf blower. Don't make it worse and kick it back up in this. Just it's okay. It happens every fall or a couple of times a year actually because they have a spring crop, a fall crop, and a winter crop, and it's sugarcane. It's okay.
Yeah, you smell it first. I remember that's the first things because we live, near the river, and so being that much closer to it, I remember smelling it twice a year growing up for however long we were here.
Well, your entire life, but
Yeah.
growing up in Morgan City, there was a lot more sugarcane around down there, and I just always remember, okay, it's sugarcane time, and actually go and hang out, go and play in we'd go hunting rabbits in the sugarcane fields, and that was always a lot of fun because rabbits apparently really liked sugarcane fields. I don't know why, but it was a good place to go and, you know, stay out of other kinds of trouble.
Yeah, getting into the right kinds of trouble.
Yes. What else is going on? By the way, it's cold out there. We heard the news report, the weather. About 30 degrees or so this morning when left the house heading this way. It's going to get a little warmer, getting it up to the 50s today. Another freeze overnight tomorrow. So yes, the pets, the plants, the pipes, and the people,
Four
the
P's.
4 Ps. Yeah, take care of all that kind of stuff. Let's see what else we got going on this morning.
Louisiana is returning to the Rose Bowl parade for the fifth consecutive year, and so they're adding Addis native John Foster to the lineup.
That's cool. I love that we do this. And I saw last night on the news some pictures of that float. I wanted to it, it looked like the lead on it on is the shrimp boat. Because and they've got different parts of Baton or parts of Louisiana that are part of that thing, and it looked like it might be the shrimp boat that's the spirit of Morgan City as out there, which was kind of cool to see. I'm not sure if that's what it is, but it looks that way.
And we've talked to Billy Nungesser in the past, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, as one of the guests whenever we're doing this show right around this time of year. He'll call in or someone from his staff will call in and just do, 30 seconds or a minute about how excited they are to promote the state of Louisiana as, our tourism push.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing. I mean, certainly make no apologies to how much of a homer I am for Louisiana. And when you see something this cool that it just looks so good and it's a celebrated afloat. So okay, so that's a little bit of what's going on out there in the world. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll talk a little sports maybe.
Hey, it's Haldane. Taking just a second to remind you about the folks over at Industry Mix. If you're wondering what Industry Mix is, well, let me bring up the speed real quick, okay? There's a number of plants, a number of factories, a number of different businesses up and down the river that make just about everything we use in our lives. We want to talk about from the plastic you put your leftovers in, to the shoes on your feet, to the tires on your car, to the roads those tires drive on. Industry makes it all. The industry of Louisiana provides jobs, provides services.
Is that
provides
Brian?
business. Here's the other part of it, though. Has a lot of people.
God, that didn't. He must have had a cold that
coming at them
day.
with very anti-industrial messaging. Well, Industry Mix is a concerted effort to speak up for the job maker. You want to learn more? Visit industrymakes.org. Industrymakes.org. Learn more about what's going on right here in Louisiana when it comes to jobs and our future. Learn more at
Several BR public high schools are set to receive receive additions alongside repairs after their bond sale went very well.
Happy New Year for the holidays. I'll be gone a few days. Can't wait to come back. If you enjoy your family time, that's what I'm doing. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. God bless. And I hope you have an awesome. Hey, it's Haldane wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas, a very happy holidays, and a very happy New Year. We're going to be taking some time off from the show to enjoy some family, enjoy the season, and more importantly,
This folder's empty.
Yeah, nothing been loaded into it. It's the second link I sent you.
The Lowe's closeout event means the final savings of the season are here.
I hit the
It's
rest
your
of the wrong
last
one
chance
first.
to get deals on seasonal decor, tools, flooring, and so much more. Refresh your home Check out your project list or simply stock up on the brands you trust.
You send it to.
Shop now to grab amazing deals before they're gone.
Sent you the link.
Lowe's. We help, you save. Up to 1/7. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
What if your instincts could pay off? With Robinhood Prediction Markets, you could put your knowledge to work on the events that matter to you. Prediction Markets isn't just sports. It's the Fed rate decision, your favorite award show, and so much more beyond the playing field. Trade events with Robinhood. Visit Robinhood.com/predict. That's Robinhood.com/predict. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm.
I'll send it as an
It's time to
attachment.
go 180 with your IT. That's why I'm happy to tell you about 180 Pros. What's different about 180 Pros? Well, yeah, they've got the latest in cybersecurity. They can build out and maintain your network. That's all true. But how about this? Simplified billing.
Haggai, remember our next break, you gotta read the traffic, not this break.
Okay.
180 Pros does not turn IT from
Yeah, because that's that one that we don't have the report.
Check them out online at 180pros.com. That's 180pros.com or give them a call.
Almost back to y'all.
330-2200.
Now, a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Eastbound I-10 near Perkins, we're still looking at a stalled vehicle. It's been there for quite a while now. It's blocking
There we go.
the car
After
right
traffic.
away. This is causing a bit of a backup to around Dalrymple.
So I'm doing a traffic.
Not this one, it'll be when we go to break next time.
Okay.
You'll read it then.
Okay.
From Cuban to the 10-12 split.
It's the only break that we don't have this time.
I'm Ray Romero.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. The once-a-year sale and clearance is here. Upgrade today with Mattress Firm's quality selection of top brands. Let their sleep experts find the perfect bag to help transform your nights. They make sleep easy.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Closing on a home? Mid-City Title makes it super simple. Open closings, expert service. MidCityTitle.com.
Bold talk, bold takes, and just enough snark. Only on Talk 107.3.
Okay, everybody. Welcome back once again. Haggai the second, along with Haggai the third, sitting in for Brian. Today, let's talk a little sports.
Oh, I'm excited. It's been a big couple days in the sports world.
So last night, the LSU men's basketball team defeated Southern Miss 90-62. Pretty comfortable win.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. What are they? 12-1, 13-1 right now?
12-1, and now we get to see if they're for real or not with the, okay, so we had a lot of non-conference. I mean, Southern Miss is a good school, good team, but this is now we're going to find out because we're going to start playing SEC ball. And what are we looking like in the SEC?
Well, and, you could say a lot of the same things for the women's team. The women's team is 14-0, and they go up against number 11 ranked Kentucky this Thursday.
Yeah, with the women's team averaging close to about 1 billion points a game. And so literally they are over 100 points a game average in their 14-0 run up or whatever the number, how many wins they've got. And go Tigers. I'm all for it. If they can, let's see them put up 100 points on Georgia.
Yeah, I'm always excited for a Mulkey team. She's really put together some good squads since she's been here, and this one looks like no exception.
We were talking about driving in. It just feels weird that we're not talking about LSU football right now. Like there should be a football. LSU should be playing tomorrow on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, and just the fact that that's the Houston Bowl or Texas Bowl or whatever it was, and it's already over with, and it's like, okay.
It was fine. They put up a decent showing. The fact that I think we were the 10th ranked SEC team this year, and Houston was the 4th ranked Big 12 team.
We had half the team opted out, and
came down to a field goal in the end.
But hey, for the first time all year, we scored more than 25 points, so it was at least entertaining.
Oh, yeah, the offense was actually moving up and down the field, and yes, it would have been tough to watch some of those games.
Yeah, and you got the Saints. We'll get to the Saints in the next after the next break, but just sticking with LSU. Now we've got the basketball team rolling, both men and women. You got the baseball team starts in a little over a month, about 6 weeks out, and yeah, this is a fun time of year.
Oh, absolutely. Jay Johnson is putting together a killer squad. I'm really excited that they won last year. They've won 2 out of 3, and I would not be surprised if they go, 3 of 5, 4 of 6, something like that.
It's yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. There's such a powerhouse team, and to use the phrase that they use in their marketing, so gonna be fun. And you know, we're gonna take another break here. We're gonna go do some commercials. When we get back, we're gonna talk a little bit about the New Orleans Saints. Still gonna take a while getting used to that light right there. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I just,
I know, Brian's like,
been coming in here for 10, 12 years, and
it's jarring.
well, it used to be that there was an actual glass right here and a door. There was an actual door right there. And so the producer always sat out there, so you didn't hear everything going on out in the hallway.
Oh, I know, like when Condon's here, like
Yeah.
luckily, I think they took off, but when they got gas and I can hear Condon down the hall. Yeah.
So I used to come in at the noon show when Clarence Buggs was the host, and it was just you had to close the door because the chaos at lunchtime, and or because Bill and Kevin were in the afternoon. Initially, it was Brian and Kevin in the afternoon, and no, Brian and Kevin were in the morning. Clarence Buggs at lunch, and Bill Profito was in the afternoon by himself. And then they moved Kevin to the afternoon with Brian and Clarence in the morning. And
Oh, so Brian and Kevin were doing it for a while.
yeah, and that's when Brian exited for a little bit of time,
And it came back.
and then when he came back, he had the morning.
This is the one where you're going to read the traffic.
Okay. Mhm.
Saints have 4 players on the ESPN NFL.
Good
All-Star
morning,
team.
Kim. Good morning, Troy.
Morning, Troy. Internet is intermittent at best for me right now.
I'm hitting it fine. So, burn the battery.
Nope, I'm down.
Finish the traffic now. Nope. Going back to y'all. Hold on. Let me play the music. We're supposed to have traffic right there, but I think Katie took it out. Oh, good.
Okay, so no traffic.
No traffic.
Okay,
No traffic.
good. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Wanted to do a little bit more sports for the morning. Talk about the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I'm really excited about where the Saints are headed right now. The more I've seen from Shuck, the more I've really liked from him. He seems like he's got poise. He seems like he's making good decisions.
It looks like he's going to be the rookie of the year.
Yeah, just again, much how we said the LSU offense was tough to watch for a lot of the year. The first 10 or so games of the Saints were also just they were sluggish. They couldn't really move the ball. Everything felt like pulling teeth. Whereas whenever I watch Chuck, I think we've converted close to 10 third and longs.
Well, it just looks like he's in control and he's comfortable and like he's back there playing quarterback as opposed to somebody who's just trying to manage an offense. And it's a subtle difference, but it's it's working for him, and I like that.
Oh, especially because he is still a rookie. I know he's 26 or whatever, but he's still got a lot of growth left. And whenever you look at the Saints rookie class in general, ESPN just put out their all rookie team. The Saints have 4 players on their all rookie team: the left tackle, the safety, and the cornerback, along with Shuck, are all being graded pretty highly after their first season of play. The Saints look like they might be building something here.
Oh, don't tease me. The fact that the Saints might not suck.
Yeah, that's the question going into this offseason. They need to, hold their water one more year, let all those contracts roll off the books, the ones that have all that dead money in them. But looking at 27, we could pretty easily win what continues to be a bad division.
We could, the way this NFC South is going, we could actually win it next year. I mean, what are we at? Almost 6 wins right now, and you know, Carolina and Tampa both only have 8 wins. I mean,
It does look right now like 8 and 9 could win the NFC South, and we're gonna finish with 7. So, one more game breaks differently earlier in the year, and we actually would have won the division because we have the best record in the division. And so that's pretty amazing for a team that everyone left for dead. Everyone said was the, 31st, maybe 32nd best roster in the league to be that close to have won the division and made the playoffs. No, I think we would have been smoked in the playoffs, but we would have gotten there.
yeah. I may have moved the T around in the name to call them the Stains instead of the Saints for a good bit of the season because they were an eyesore. But yeah, this is fun to watch, and the debate of do you tank like the Jets and get the higher draft pick, or do you go out and get a few wins? And I think it's cool to see them get the wins. I mean, is it really going to make that much of a difference drafting fifth versus drafting 10th?
And probably not. But it feels so much better to have put these wins together that, the locker room seems like they're really excited. It seems like Kellen Moore has the team playing together well. In the offseason, you're going to have guys who want to stick around. You're going to have guys who want to come here. This is, I think, I would much, much rather be in the New Orleans Saints building than be in the New York Jets building.
Oh, that's a very fair point because the you know at least the Saints have won the Super Bowl. Within the last 15 years, as opposed to has it been more than 15 now?
It was the
16,
2000
17?
Yeah.
But it's not the 1968 Jets with Joe Namath that or 70 Jets, whenever it was 50 years ago versus, in your lifetime kind of thing. So I'd rather be where the Saints are. I look, I think the direction that this team is headed is good. I think Kellen Moore is starting to get his feet on the ground. He was got like which way is up the first couple of games.
He's the rookie head coach too, and so everyone's gonna make some mistakes. Everyone's gonna have some learning to do, but it really seems like we're seeing a lot of growth at the right places. And, I could expect people to pick the Saints, maybe not to win the division next year, although Tampa Bay has looked like they have quit as a team. For as hot as they started, they are now ice cold. Who knows what's happening with the Falcons? And I don't believe in the Panthers either. This is a team which could actually, win the division next year without being that great.
I'm just stunned by that. The fact that you can say that the Saints have a chance to do something in the future is it's kind of fun. It's not something we've had for a long time. You know the previous coach Dennis Allen, who was much more about defense, even as a head coach, it looked like he was trying to stop the Saints offense.
Yeah, I'm glad we're in a new era. I'm glad we've turned the page, and I think that we're really set up for success here moving forward.
I am, and so sports is a big part of what we do down here in South Louisiana. Seeing LSU, you know, having turned a page and very bright future. The Saints, certainly closing out the year strong, looking bright toward the future. This is this is this is what's fun about being in South Louisiana. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I just sent you the link to the show summaries.
Okay. Where did you send it? You sent it to Orcadas.
I'm Colleen Crane of the Talk 1073 Baton Rouge Newsroom. The driver of the vehicle involved in a hit and run crash that caused the death of a cyclist in Lake Charles Saturday evening has been arrested. Lake Charles Police Department says 20-year-old Matthew Vivon called police the night of the crash to report he had been involved in the crash. He faces several charges, including first-degree vehicular negligent injury, hit and run with death, and underage operating a vehicle while intoxicated. The cyclist, 64-year-old Jay Worm, suffered multiple injuries as a result of the crash and was transported to a Baton Rouge hospital and succumbed to his injuries. It's a special holiday for Mandeville resident, former state lawmaker and Bessie member Paul Hollis, who was confirmed by the U.S. Senate as the 41st director of the U.S. Mint. Hollis, who has been involved in million-dollar sales of rare coins, says he's been an avid collector since he was a child. Grandmother from Louisiana, $1 and up there. Louisiana is about to show itself off on the streets of Pasadena, California.
There it is.
So, what did you think of having Mike Strain in last week or a couple of weeks, whatever?
Yeah, I know.
He's great.
I know. Big old pot of gumbo.
I got to sit in one day with him, and he's a whirlwind.
And he's lively. He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
fun. Yep. Sweetest guy, I hear too.
Yeah, super nice.
We can also mention that we're moving into the semi-quincentennial
This is the weirdest freaking thing. The chat keeps going away.
See it over there.
Yeah,
No.
this is your camera right now.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I see the chat over
my
there.
chat just keeps disappearing.
Oh.
It's a me, not a you.
Okay.
Nothing you're
like,
doing.
wait.
No, it's this stupid computer. Like the graphics just gets it freaks out. So weird.
A holiday reminder from front to back boat service. We'll be closed now until January 6th for inventory. Clean up the inside with our handlers. We will be accepting a few appointments as we will be in and out of the store during this time. If you'd like to consume
Switch browsers to did it again. It just does. It just
front to back boat services from the lodge to the marsh. They get you covered from
that is so bizarre.
and front to back boat service. Thanks for your business and support. Gold and silver to find wealth and power. Join Reagan Gold this Saturday at noon for valuable tips from seasoned professionals to maximize your investment returns and give you expert tips. Reagan Gold, Saturdays at noon on Talk 1073. It's Corey Rush, and we're excited to introduce Guaranteed Digital Media, your trusted partner in navigating the ever-evolving digital landscape. We offer a full suite of digital media services designed to help your business grow online. The digital world can be complex. Let the team you already know and trust guide you through it. Get your website uploaded today. Visit guaranteedmedia.com. Guaranteedmedia.com. Talk 1073 weather. The wintertime feel is back after a cold start with May in the 30s. Many of us are going to not leave the 40s today under a mainly sunny sky. Overnight, we turn very cold. We're going to see the mid to upper 20s. Some hard freezes will be possible. Do not forget the 4Ps. And then on Wednesday, sunny skies, highs up into the 50s. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Rogers with your Storm Station forecast, WBOZ Channel 2. This is Ramsey personality John Deloney, and you're listening to Mornings with Brian Haldane. Today at 1, it's The Ramsey Show. We're talking money, career, mental health, and more on Talk 1073.
Good morning. Good morning. Once again, welcome into Mornings with Brian Haldane. Got a pair of hags hanging out with you for the morning.
And we're having a great time so far.
But as we do this time, it's time for a cup of tech gumbo. You have that? Did I catch you off guard, Bree?
Yep, but I'm firing it up for you. Let's go.
Even Brian can understand.
You just don't get it.
I don't have your head for science, so I'm not going to be able to help much.
For a full serving, check out Tech Gumbo, Saturdays at 11 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m.
We got 30 years worth of files right here in this computer that are going to bring you down.
A cup of Tech Gumbo on Talk 1073.
I'm sorry, wrong password.
So, if you're not aware, we are in our 12th year of doing Tech Gumbo. And so we thought we might do just a look back at some of the big stories that we've talked about through the course of 2025.
Yeah, so we like to talk about different headlines in technology. What's Google doing? What's Microsoft doing? Apple, Meta, Facebook, Twitter. You know, everyone's got some interesting stuff happening, and it has been a big year.
We certainly they've talked about artificial intelligence more than anything else over the course of the year. We cover the past, present, future of all things technology. AI has certainly dominated almost we've talked about it extensively, at least every show this past year.
It's really becoming like the internet, and that's 20 years ago, almost every story would have basically become an internet story. And now you don't even think about, oh, well, this is an internet story. The internet is just part of every story. And I think AI is moving in that direction that right now we still have AI stories, but I think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, every story will just have AI baked into it.
Because everything is gonna have AI baked into it. Certainly one of the things we've pounded on the most has been Microsoft and how they've been trying to, jam Copilot into everything. You They've all but renamed the company Copilot.
It really is disappointing because I grew up with Microsoft. I've used Microsoft for 25 years now. And so it's a company that I like, I respect, and for them to just feel like they are floundering, like they have no idea, no direction. Why is Copilot in GroupMe? Who put that there? What is it supposed to do? How am I, the user, supposed to have that make my group chats better? It's all ridiculous.
And certainly I'm very much a Microsoft guy as well. The fact that you have different kinds of Copilot. You have the Copilot that's part of the Edge browser. You have Copilot that's in the Bing search engine. You have Copilot in Word. You have Copilot in Excel, which is a story we talked about because it's not very accurate, and Excel has to be accurate. And then you have the enterprise version, which just looks at things behind the firewall. That's just your tenant. That's the one you have to pay for. And there's just so many different versions of Copilot, and it's
Well, there's another version of Copilot. There's the one they show on the ads, and the Copilot they show on the ads does not function like the Copilot that any of those versions operate like. And if you try and do a lot of the stuff that they're doing, you're gonna find you just don't quite get the same results. And there was a few years ago where Apple faced some pretty serious lawsuits over what their commercials said that their AI agents could do, and I don't quite think that Microsoft is as bad as what Apple was showing off in their Apple Intelligence, but I really think it's going to be a while before anyone is turning over large portions of their business to Copilot.
another story that we have spent a lot of time talking about, and something much more into your wheelhouse specifically, is electronic vehicles.
This has been somewhat of a tough year for electric vehicles. That there have been a lot less federal subsidies directed in that industry, that we've seen with the tax credit expiring in September. You saw a lot of people purchasing, to make sure they get that credit, and then it's fallen off a cliff after that. You've seen a lot of startups have crumbled, and that we really are on thin ice with our EV industry. That Ford has canceled their Ford Lightning, that GM had their Brightline, which has also been discontinued. We might not have an American EV in the future.
And then when you look at the Chinese EV market and what their company BYD, they are putting out really, really nice cars and shipping them all over the world. This is not just people riding around in mainland China. It is the number one selling car in Australia. There is different parts of Europe that are they're buying these things, and they're less expensive than Teslas and nicer than the Teslas.
Yeah, for $30,000 to $40,000, you can get luxury vehicles that are high performance vehicles. It's going to sound shocking for a lot of the American audience, the fact that one, there are cars that are that much better than ours, because I think the assumption is that, oh, well, if what the American manufacturers can't make, no one can be able to make them. Well, that's just simply not true. And then, oh, well, if they were that much better, we would be able to buy them. and that's also simply not true. And so one day there will be a large shock to the American automaker industry because right now the Chinese vehicles are prevented from entering the American market. But at some point in time, the BYD vehicles, the NEO vehicles, the CATL vehicles will be allowed to be sold in America. And it's going to have a whole lot of people suddenly have to answer a whole lot of tough questions.
And we're not anti, combustion engine here. It's like we can have both. We should be able to have both, have a choice. And if you want an EV, great. If you want a gas engine, you want a diesel engine, that's fine. But I mean, to just totally shut off the market and say, nope, no EVs, we're EV bad, gasoline good is just not, we can do all of it.
And I think, to tie in this transportation trend into another one, robo taxis are something that we saw a huge expansion for in 2025 and only going to grow in 2026.
Waymo is coming to New Orleans. The driverless vehicle going through the streets in uptown New Orleans is just going to be funny. I can't wait to go down and drive, just follow around behind them in my big pickup truck that can overcome the massive potholes that is New Orleans.
Well, that's, a great point about what vehicle are they actually going to be driving down the road. Currently, right now, they just have those Jaguar I-Paces, which is a mid-size crossover. But maybe they do have something that is a different size for different places.
Does Waymo have hovercrafts yet?
They're not that far in the future.
I mean, if you have not driven through uptown New Orleans recently, they've been ripping up roads trying to repair them. That New Orleans is still sinking, and it's not solid ground,
Wet mud is bad for pavements.
and that's all that is there. It's just wet mud that we've paved over, and so to see these self-driving vehicles go through New Orleans, and look, they're coming to it. They're already in Los Angeles and Phoenix and San Francisco and in Austin, Texas. They're coming to New York City. They're testing in New York City already. Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Atlanta, New Orleans, Pittsburgh.
Baltimore, Philadelphia, they are about to explode in size over the next year or two, and we're gonna go from it being something that's, pretty much contained to California right now to a large number of Americans are suddenly gonna see them show up in their cities, and they're gonna be able to push a button on either their Waymo app or their Uber app or their Lyft app because they're trying to partner with everyone. And it's going to really change how a lot of people see this technology whenever they get into it. And it just kind of works. And it's no longer this scary futuristic thing. It's something that they see rolling around and they get in and it does a pretty good job.
And we also talked through the year about the impact it's going to have on that gig economy worker who's been driving for Lyft and driving for Uber. That those people are going to find themselves, not as requested as they once were.
That is such a fascinating point. We really expect robo taxis to change a lot of things about how our society operates. And that labor component is definitely one of them. That what happens whenever you no longer need those drivers? One, where do they go? Does the price of the ride come way down? And then, so if all of a sudden the price of the ride comes way down, then am I taking it more often? Am I taking it so often that maybe if we have two cars, maybe we only need one? You still have one because you want one, but if you can schedule your commute to be in front of your house every day at the right time and it's, maybe a $5 ride to take you into the office and you're not paying for gas, you're not paying for insurance, you're not paying for maintenance, you're not having worried about, any crashes would not be your fault anymore. You're not the one behind the wheel. And so if it's a bad traffic day, what do you care? That's a pitch that maybe some people would hear.
It was also one of the stories we talked about when Waymo landed when they got there to Austin. People started requesting the driverless vehicle for a couple of reasons. One, it was a few bucks less expensive, but also because they didn't have to worry about tipping the driver.
Yeah, right now we're still in that phase wherever people are trying to figure out exactly the business model that Waymo knows exactly what the price that Lyft and Uber are going to offer are. They're all very much paying attention to the other ones. And so the base price of Waymo is going to be higher, but once you start to factor in that tipping price, they all come out about the same. That right now, because you're guaranteed to be riding in a Jaguar, then it is somewhat of a nicer experience as opposed to riding in the back of someone's, Honda Civic. And so that's kind of the breakdown right now. But Waymo has said in future years, maybe they look at other vehicles. Maybe they look at something like a minivan. Maybe look at a two-seater. That's because right now, if the average ride is 1 to 2 people, then you don't need all that.
So that's just a few of the stories. If you're enjoying our little conversation here, you can certainly check out Tech Gumbo on the weekends or grab it as a podcast anywhere where you get your podcast. When we get back after the break, we're going to do a few more review stories on Tech Gumbo.
You open up with Windows 10 and then just do something about ChatGPT.
Um, Windows 10 and then social media, especially
Okay.
Australia.
Yeah.
Byron said there's a company called Truffle Pig. Have you heard of that? It started in VR, combines AI with Excel. I have found it very helpful in my job, he says. I never heard of it. I had to look it up.
Truffle Pig?
It combines AI with what?
Excel. Excel.
Excel?
Yep, Excel. Yep. They can hear you. Because I have your lights on Facebook.
Yeah, first.
I never heard of such a thing. I wish I could have had that when I was budgeting.
But it looks like he's doing it in Sheets. I would just
In
use
like Google Sheets or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just use Gemini at that point in time.
Right. Or ChatGPT if you truly need.
Well, Gemini is made by Google, and so Google Sheets is their version of Excel.
Gotcha.
And
So,
so
I mean,
Gemini's,
that's their AI,
yeah.
Huh.
I also don't love the name.
Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. Haggai Davis II,
Along with Haggai Davis III.
sitting in for Brian. Let's hope Brian is still sleeping today and catching up on his rest because I don't think Brian ever sleeps. Oop. Sorry,
I promise we know how technology works here on Tech Gumbo.
yeah. Forgot to mute my phone because I was worried about our guest when they get here to send me a text. Okay, so one of the big stories for this year, we're kind of reminiscing about some of the stories, the major stories from the year. Microsoft ended the support for Windows 10.
Windows 10 is the operating system that had basically been powering everything. It had such a large share of all computers that were using any sort of Microsoft products. It was a great operating system. It first came online in 2015 and it was stable. It did what it needed to do. And Windows 11 came out a few years back, but just nobody switched to Windows 11 because there was never really any reason to, other than Microsoft said that, well, you probably should, but some people said, I like 10, 10 does what I need. Why would I make this change? And well, Microsoft pulled the plug to force you to make the change.
So this was all about the trusted platform module chip that lives on the motherboard of your computers. Windows 10 was built around the TPM 1 and then 1.2 chip. The 2.0 chip that came out about 5, 6 years ago is what you needed to have on your motherboard to be able to run Windows 11. Windows 11 was all about security. It's more secure than Windows 10. That's what the the things that Microsoft had preached the most over and over and over. It's all about security. Wasn't any additional functionality really in Windows 11. It was about the security features that TPM 2.0 gave you, and that was the whole reason to kill or end the support for Windows 10. If you have a Windows 10 computer, it will still operate. It will still function. Obviously, you're just not getting the patches and updates, and now you're a cybersecurity risk.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, which is just I understand why a lot of people have been hesitant to make that change. I haven't seen numbers recently, but even after Windows 10 went end of support, there was still a lot of people, like 30 to 40% of all users were still on Windows 10. I'd imagine that number has gone down a little bit, but I would not be surprised if it's still in that 10 to 15 range.
Yeah, we did a story at the beginning of December, which was a full 6 weeks after the end of support, which was the middle of October. There were still a billion computers running Windows 10.
And that really does have huge impacts on the cybersecurity industry because all those people, as soon as the major flaws come out, the major vulnerabilities come out, they're all vulnerable. And Microsoft has said, not our problem.
Okay, well, we're going to take another break because we do enjoy having the commercials around here. This is Haggai and Haggai. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, those commercials pay somebody's bills.
We love the commercials, y'all. My dad freaked out about that because he's like, "Oh my God, will I be able to use Windows 10 still?" I'm like, "Yes, you just if something goes wrong."
You're toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna.
He didn't want to upgrade. Like his computer was, and he's like, "I'm afraid to." I'm like, "It's going upgrade to 11. It's going to be okay."
Yeah.
Because he's the old dog. He's like,
I know this one. I know it. It works.
He's like, "I don't want to have to relearn," and I'm like, "I get it," but all the YouTube tutorials. Well,
Most people, once you upgrade, you can't tell the difference, and
I
except
was
for
going to say, is there a major difference with
No.
10 and 11?
the toolbar at the bottom moves to the center, but you can move it back over to the left.
So you can make it
Yeah,
familiar.
you can make it look just like Windows 10. It just Microsoft wanted to. They There's been a history. Microsoft has lasted their operating systems. They put them out for about 10 years,
Okay.
and go end of life
like
after
the
about 10 years.
98,
And so even though when they launched Windows 10 in 2015, they said, that's it. We're never going to change. This is going to be the permanent operating system forever and ever. Amen. And then 4 years later said, well, we're in the process of developing Windows 11. We'll roll it out in 2022. And everybody's, wait. You just said, yeah, we changed our mind. And, and well, you had Windows 95, then 98, then Windows ME,
XP.
then XP, then Windows 7, then Vista, then Windows 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone hated it.
that and Windows 8 was it had the tiles on the front, and yeah,
It was small. People just went straight to 10, and they're like, "Oh, wow, this is great." There's a huge fast migration to 10 because everyone's like, "This is so much better," and everyone's been there for a decade, and they're like, "Well, why do I have to change?"
There's
for the top stories and trending, do we have an idea of what we're doing here?
I have the buttons ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And what I'll do is number 5, and then number 4. Y'all can hear it though.
Yeah.
On the board.
the top stories of the local, or that's the national. That's the more
Both.
bigger stories because the trending is the local.
No, trending is the national.
Okay, so
Yeah. So top stories make them local. Yeah.
okay.
We could do the high school bonds. State police heightened for New Year's Eve security in New Orleans. West Feliciana Office of Homeland Alerts to send wireless emergency alerts test on Tuesday morning. That's this morning.
I love it.
Oh, the Baton Rouge General Birth Center was the top baby name for 2025.
See, heaven's got a plan for you. Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. You got a pair of hags sitting in for Haldane. I'm Haggai the second.
And Haggai the third.
Kind of holding down the fort while Brian catches up on his beauty rest. His much-deserved time away from the microphone. Good for him. But it's this time where we do the top stories and trending.
It's what the 225 is waking up to.
Hey, wake up!
Baton Rouge Metro Airport presents top stories and trending.
Something is going on here!
Right now on Talk 1073. Number 5.
The West Feliciana Office of Homeland Security is going to send a wireless emergency alert this morning. Tuesday at 11 a.m. They're going to send a test alert message. Do not worry, it's only a test. You can disregard that message. But if you are listening to us in West Feliciana, expect that today.
Number 4.
An infant was killed in an early morning fire in Bro Bridge. Fire was set. The fire department was able to get the mom and two of the kids out, but unfortunately, an infant did not survive.
Number 3.
The Baton Rouge General has released the top 10 most popular baby names for 2025. The 5 top girl names are Olivia, Nora, Evelyn, Ivy, and Kennedy. The boy names are Elijah, John, Henry, Walker, and Eric. Some of those feel pretty familiar, some of them are newer.
Number 2.
The Baton Rouge Police Department arrested a second man in connection to the murders at the of a Southern student at the Cadence Apartments. Police arrested Quinn Braylon Dunn for his portion in the murder.
Number 1.
Several Baton Rouge public high schools are set to receive additions after the sale of bonds went better than expected. They raised $42 million in bond sales, and the city is expected to use this money primarily to expand on athletic services for local high schools.
Top stories are in the books. Now let's check in on what's trending.
So the Baton Rouge weather is certainly trending right now, trending cold. If you've been walking around in the past week or two in shorts and flip-flops, well, you found out yesterday that that's not going to be that way for a while, and we're back in winter all of a sudden.
Yes, it has. The cold front has come through. It is currently sitting on top of us. Now, after another day or two, it's expected to go back up, but it should be fine.
Oh, okay. Let's see what else we got there. Um, did we do number 4 yet, or is that the trending?
Trending is always great. You
Oh,
got 2 more.
2 more. Okay, 2 more trending stories. The I lost my place.
Our trending stories, can we do a national story? One thing that I expect people to hear a lot about coming up in this new year will be the semi-quincentennial. 2026 will be the 250th anniversary of the U.S. So expect to hear the word semi-quincentennial for half of 500 years.
On that note, Haggai, I would say a lot of people are talking about what Manhattan's going to do with the ball drop. The ball will actually drop twice at midnight. Once at midnight, and I think once in the new year, but 4 minutes after to mark the centennial.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And then when the second ball drops, apparently it's going to be red, white, and blue, and it's going to be a whole to do. So if people are going to see the ball drop in New York City, that's going to be a pretty cool once in a lifetime thing.
Well, I now live in New York City. I'm home visiting right now. And, of all the things to do in New York City, I don't see myself ever being there for the ball drop because we have to get there hours and hours early. And once you are there, there's no leaving the pen and there are no porta potties.
I was going to say that my husband lived actually, he worked at Rockefeller Center. He worked at the World Trade Center. God bless, and he lived there for 12 years. And he told me that too. He goes, never once did I have an inkling or a want to go see the ball drop or go to Times Square. It's just something you don't do if you live there.
Absolutely not.
I've done a lot of other things in New York City. I even went, the run club had a run starting at midnight in Central Park. They counted down 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, and the race starts. And I would prefer to go run through the freezing cold in New York City than go stand in Times Square for New Year's Eve.
Love it. Well, we got one more story for what's trending before we go to break. What we got, y'all?
What we got? We have our the Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump, President Trump met to talk about ending that whole conflict. I don't know that Russia is entirely on board, and then we're also bombing Venezuela. So there's a whole lot of things going on out there that our military is kind of on the peripheral or actually doing. That's certainly a very trending story.
I was
right
going to
now.
say, and I could be wrong, but on TikTok, which gotta love TikTok, aren't we at war with Iran, or hasn't Iran declared war on us, or something?
They've never stopped wanting
Right.
to end
Declare
the
war.
United States.
Right.
Yeah, but the question is, are we at war with them or are they at war with us?
Right.
They can say
Right.
that they're at war with us. I don't know that we have declared that, or actually, I do know that we have not declared that. And
We
so,
did bomb them over the past year, their nuclear sites, and so they're still not happy with us over that.
yes, but if you look at the list of countries we've bombed in the past 5 or 10 years who are all unhappy with us, it's a lot more than just one.
Yes. Speaking of getting bombed, it's New Year's Eve tomorrow, so we'll be back after this commercial break.
Y'all. Right? Oh, y'all, they were already popping fireworks in my. It woke me up at 1 o'clock. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, why are we popping fireworks? Some people gotta work, y'all.
That early, too. All right.
So let's this next time, let's talk about the difference of living in New York City versus in
Sure.
Baton Rouge. And please chime in. I mean, be a part of this conversation.
Okay, absolutely, y'all. Dixon, another great episode of Mornings without Brian Haldane. Have a great show. He was our guest yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, I watched it. Yeah, Dixon did a great job.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dixon. You were calling the game late last night. I was like, I chimed in. I said, this man does not sleep.
Morning, Deborah.
You got to unmute this time, so it's
Yes,
not
it
gonna...
is. I turned the volume all the way off.
All right, so this next one is it's a full 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, everybody, we're back here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Without Brian Haldane, you got a couple of Haggai's sitting in along with Bree, and we kind of touched on it there just a minute. The fact that Haggai, you were born here in Baton Rouge, but now live in New York City. Wanted to talk about the differences of, because I don't think most people realize how very different living, not just the 1,500 miles apart, but the way you live in New York City is so much different.
Yeah, so I born here, raised here, undergrad, even got a master's at LSU, did the first 26 years here, and then I moved in August of 2019 up to New York City. And as you would expect, it was a big adjustment.
Well, the first thing you had to do was you had to sell your car.
Yes. So I, packed everything that I had into my Ford Escape and drove it the 1,500 miles up there. And then I landed in September and then sold it in October. That I said, one, I took the subway into work. And so I spent more time having to move my car around because there's no parking in a driveway. And they have what's called alternate side parking. And so you're parking on the street, but they send the street sweeper down the street 4 times a week. And so you can't be there when the street sweeper comes through, or you get a nice hefty ticket. And so I was just sitting there looping the block and looping the block, hoping to find parking. And after 6 weeks of doing that, I said, I'm spending more time in my car trying to find parking than actually driving it anywhere. And I don't know how to drive in the snow or the ice. So I wanted to make sure I was gone before that.
And then all of the toll roads all over to the greater New York City area.
Yeah, it was expensive. That's, if you wanted to leave the city, that there was a toll to drive into New Jersey. There was a toll to get back into New York. There was a toll to go upstate. There was a toll to go on to Long Island. That driving is not free there like it is here.
And we're right now, the price of gasoline, $2.25 approximately. In New York City, it's about $5 a gallon.
Well, and also there's just a lot fewer gas stations that because so much smaller percentage of the population drives and gas stations actually take up a lot of space that you don't have them on every corner like you do here. And so it means that it actually, again, I was spending a lot more time driving trying to find gas stations and driving trying to find parking. And I was like, it's more time to just make sure the car can still run than actually to use the car.
Well, in 2021, that was my first time ever going to Manhattan. We flew into Jersey. We took the train to Penn Station, and I kind of knew because my husband lived there for 12 years. So he's like, look, don't pack luggage. Don't check a bag because we're walking. We're not going. And I was like, okay. So I fit everything in my low carry on. That's what we did. And we walked to Midtown in a good, I would say, mile and a half. You know what I mean? And it was culture shock for me. That's one thing I noticed. No gas stations. You got Dunkin' Donuts on every corner, but you don't have a gas station at all. I didn't even see one.
There's not drive-throughs because
No.
people aren't in cars, and
It's
so
walk in.
yeah. And then also it really changes your relationship to fast food because how often do you drive through the McDonald's or the Taco Bell or the Burger King or even some of the other ones that, you don't stop and you keep moving? Well, if you're not driving through, they kind of lose their appeal.
Correct. That's what I noticed. I was talking to Blondies. You might have heard the sports bar Blondies. I think it's Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Anyways, regardless, you meet a lot of the locals because we didn't hang out with the tourists. He didn't want to hang out in Times Square. I'm like, I'm good, So we went go eat at some of his favorites that he ate at, and I got to talking to the people. And one of the ladies, she's like, I can't tell you the last time I ate McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's just fast food ain't a thing up there. You got them, but people don't really tourists eat them.
And the subways are so efficient. Every time we've come up to visit, we hop on the subways and get all over town. And if there's a particular, we're gonna go out, to LaGuardia or whatever, back to the airport. Yeah, not a subway there. Fine, take an Uber, hop on, a bus or whatever the different mass transit is a real thing up there.
It's the predominant thing there. That's I think in Manhattan, something like 80% of people don't own a car, and so you're either walking, you're biking. Biking is a huge deal now with the shared bike system. So New
Yeah.
Orleans has their, I think they call it Blue Bike, and so New York City has their version of that, and that's a big deal. I take it a lot. I love it a lot. But yeah, I spend a lot of time on the subway, and the thing that I say about New York City is that everywhere is more than 20 minutes, nowhere is more than an hour. And so the fact that you can get to basically the entire city, that's, whenever you compare it to Los Angeles, how much of Los Angeles is sitting in traffic? How
Oh
much
my
of
gosh.
Houston is sitting in traffic? Or
Yes.
Atlanta
How
is
much
sitting in
is
traffic?
Baton Rouge sitting in traffic? I mean, it takes 20 minutes to go anywhere in Baton Rouge, even if you're going across the street,
Yep.
or it can take an hour if you get right behind the one perfect accident. And Baton Rouge is just our tiny little town down here compared to New York City. That's why, that hopping on that subway is just really cool.
It's so easy that, I put in a podcast, I put in some music, and you tune out for 20 or 30 minutes. And so my commute is about 30 minutes one way. But because I'm not driving, I'm not having to think about it, I'm not having to navigate all that stuff, it's really a very easy commute.
Now, the one thing you probably had to learn, Haggai, and my husband said the same thing. It had been years since he took the subway and the transit system that it can get confusing. So we actually took a subway from Midtown to go see the Yankees game in, am I saying it right, Bronx?
Yes.
Yes. So he said, I think we had to get on 3 or 4. We had to get on the 8 train. I don't remember, but regardless, at one point he started to get confused too, which I'm like, you lived here. And he goes, follow the Yankees jerseys. Just follow them.
Yep.
They know where they're going.
Yep.
And so you probably, that was the learning curve, correct?
Oh,
Learning
absolutely. That and it used to be, I think they did it intentionally that they made it difficult to operate. That, whenever I first moved there, I would just have the map. I bought a map of the subways and just spent months staring at
walking
it,
around
learning,
with a map.
because they've changed it now. They've made it a lot better now how they refer to things. But they would start talking about, oh, they would tell you this subway goes, and they would say the end of the line. They would say the very last
I
station.
noticed that. Yep.
And so they would talk about places that are in, the very, very end of all the different directions. And if you're still living there, okay, I know the name of my neighborhood. I know the name of the neighborhood I'm going to, but I could not tell you the geography of all the different outer boroughs. And so that was definitely something that Google is really good at it now. That if you just put in your location to Google, you tell it where you want to go and you follow its instructions exactly, as long as the MTA is on time, as long as the subways are doing what they're supposed to be doing, then you'll get there.
Google Maps is really, really good. When you add in the layer of the mass transit and it shows you all the subway lines and, I every time we've gone up there using Google Maps, and normally I use Waze when I'm driving, but when I'm not driving and I'm up there in New York, Google Maps is the thing.
I didn't know that Google Maps can line out the transit.
Oh, yeah.
Had no idea, which we visited in 2021. I don't know if it was up to speed then.
Oh,
It
yeah.
might have been. I didn't even know that.
And, we were up there this past summer and that the rideshare bicycles, we had gone up to see a museum in the northern portion and hopped on some of these bikes and was riding around in that area. And it was just really nice to be up there. Number one, it was August and oh no, it wasn't even August. It was earlier, and it was in like May because it was for your graduation. That's
Right,
right.
right.
And so, I mean, the weather was beautiful, and it was already hot down here, so it was nice to get away from the heat. But yeah, riding on those bicycles and just seeing different parts and stopping into a little restaurant right there on the curbside restaurant kind of stuff, hanging out and it's just such a different mindset the way you live up there.
And I think one of the things that people have in their mind is a vision of Manhattan in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think that whenever people hear New York City, that's what they think. And New York City has changed a lot in the past 20 years. It has gotten a lot safer, a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. And then also, yes, Manhattan is very dense. It is the streets, it is the yellow cabs, but I live in Brooklyn. And Brooklyn it's a bit calmer, it's a bit slower. Obviously, it's much faster and more busy than Baton Rouge, but there's a lot of trees everywhere. People walk at, not as insane speeds. There's families, there's schools. It really does feel like a normal place to be.
I'm over here laughing at Byron. He goes, also good advice for New York tourists. Don't take the Times Square's Elmo's offer to tickle him. Yo, okay. When I visited New York in 2021, I told my husband, I'm gonna regret this, but can I at least see Times Square? Because everybody has to do it at least once. I immediately got annoyed. I was getting mad, frustrated. I said, I'm done. I'm done because the amount of people that come up to you for money. Oh, you want a picture with this Hello Kitty? $20 and they'll chase you down and I'm out. I'm out. It's kind of like New Orleans on steroids.
The thing you've got to get used to walking around through Manhattan is the smell of marijuana.
Oh gosh, and it's legal there. I didn't know that.
And I mean, when you see some guy sitting there smoking a joint, walking right past the
Right.
cop, and you're
I
thinking,
freaked out.
"Oh, wait a minute, that's right. That they can do that here."
Yep.
And literally, you can't go a full block without smelling it.
That's
And
all
it
we
is just,
smelled.
and it's just. And I've never done marijuana. I don't smoke or anything like that. So if you want to do it, that's fine. That's great. But that's just not my thing. And to have it that prevalent, it's like, okay, how do you people function when your brain is baked like this?
I know. And they'll sit there and do it all day because the amount of times that I walk past the same woman, for example, just sitting on that bench smoking. And we came back at 5 o'clock and she's still right there smoking. I'm like, is that quality? I mean, I guess,
She wasn't minding.
Right. In case you're just tuning in, we have a pair of Haggai's filling in for Brian Haldane. Much needed rest.
Yeah, and we're talking about living in New York City versus living in Baton Rouge right now because young Haggai the third here is a resident of the New York City, and after having grown up here, just some of the really differences. But one of the major things is just the availability to do so many more things
Right.
any time of the night or day.
Well, I would say that's actually New York City used to be the city that never sleeps.
Correct.
After COVID, there are a lot more places that close now. There are a lot more things that aren't 24/7. And that's really one of the big changes is that, obviously during COVID, the city had the big shutdown and everything came to a halt. It's mostly back to the way that things were, but it's really not that same, 24/7 city that it used to be.
Kind of, but not. So here's something I learned, and my husband warned me of this. He said, because we typically eat dinner. We have kids. I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, 6-year-old twins. Excuse me. We typically eat about 5 o'clock dinner. It's just early for us. And when we visited New York City, you don't eat till 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's normal. I'm culture shock once again. Same in Brooklyn. I'm assuming people just eat later.
Yeah, it's you're on the move, you're going, and so part of that is also the day starts a little later. I would say New York City is not a 7 a.m. city. It is much more of a 9 or 10 a.m. city, and so that's also part of where that is. It's just your entire clock is shifted.
That's so interesting. Yep, major culture shock up there. And you've been living there how long now? Again,
I moved August 2019, which was fascinating because it was just enough time to develop a routine, develop some friends, develop some habits before.
boom,
Yes,
COVID hit.
that was another one of those big adjustments is that, I was up there and then suddenly because you have everyone lives in small apartments, but you don't spend any time in your apartment. Everyone's always out there on the move.
Correct.
They're always
That's what I
going.
learned. Yep.
And so the fact that you have a small apartment isn't as big of a deal whenever you can go to the parks and the restaurants and the bars and the museums and all the other things that there are to do. Well, when all that stuff shuts down and you're stuck in your
In
apartment,
your tiny 500 square foot apartment.
suddenly that number matters a whole lot more.
Right.
And so
Right.
that was another big adjustment is I got to learn all the nooks and crannies very well in that apartment.
And I would say, wasn't it New York that shut down first? It was Los Angeles and New York and all your major metropolitan cities. Y'all shut down before Baton Rouge shut down.
Right, because we were one of the first places that COVID really hit, that the death toll spiked in New York City first. Just to go back down this rabbit hole, I remember listening to The Daily, the New York Times podcast, and they were interviewing someone in a town like 15 miles north of the city talking about how bad it was there. And I remember sitting there listening and being like, wait a minute, I know how infectious disease works. If
Mhm.
it's 15 miles north of the city, it's in the city. And then there was like, they found it in an Uber driver. And I was like, I know how Ubers work as well. Like, it's got to be here. And then overnight, the switch flipped and it was everywhere. People in my office had it. It was a huge deal. It was a big change. And I'm very glad we were on the other side of that hill now.
Correct. Correct.
And the one other thing that people really take advantage of in the New York City is the parks.
Yep.
Prospect Park, Central Park. And there's a lot of little parks
Yep.
all over the place. And yes, we have Breck here, but not everyone goes to the Breck parks the way they do up in New York.
Correct. They have, what is it, a bar room right in the middle of like a little tavern where you can get a sandwich and a beer. I was blown away. I'm like, wait, I could eat in the park. They got a zoo in the park. I was mind blown.
Well, here we have a backyard where I don't have to go to a park to see grass. When you live on the
Right.
5th or 6th floor of a 20-story building, you don't have a yard, so you do go to the parks.
And another thing that the city has done a great job of in the past 20 years is converting all of the riverfront. It used to all be industrial. They're turning it all into park. They're connecting all of it. And so you could run for 15 or 20 miles along all the riverfront
Yep.
and always be in a park. And that is so nice.
I know. I noticed that. I didn't realize how massive Central Park is. And then I learned.
Okay, we're going to take another break. When we get back, we're going to talk with Barbara Auten from the Alzheimer's Services of the Capital Area. This is Talk 107.3 FM. Hey, Barbara, come on in. Oh, yeah, you can bring it all in with you.
Nobody's here. Nobody's here today. Even Condon's off.
Yeah.
Interesting talk about the city.
Yeah, we're going to put you right here.
Sure, no problem.
I'm from the other end of New York,
Really?
Buffalo.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Buffalo, gosh, we get 2-3 hours away from actual Manhattan.
Oh, it's
Oh, it's,
More,
it's
it's more,
about
it's
six.
more.
Well, 6 to Albany, so really 7, almost 8 to New York.
Because that was another thing. 'Cause my husband lived there for 12 years. That's what I was telling Haggai. And I said, oh, I was like, you can get to, what is it, the falls or whatever. I was like, oh, an hour. And my husband goes, absolutely not. And he goes, New York's more massive than that.
Yeah.
It's
The falls was my backyard, though. That's where you went after a date. You went to the falls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So are you a Bills fan?
Oh, yeah. Josh Allen all the way.
They're,
They struggled this weekend, yeah. But he is such a good guy.
That's what I
He
hear.
is,
I hear
he
he's
is
active in the community.
very active.
Like,
The fans love him. You don't see a football quarterback break down in tears and apologize for his behavior. You know, I mean, he's just a different breed.
yeah. And I really respect the Bills fan base a lot because I remember there was an event a few years ago wherever after the Bengals had like won a game to send the Bills to their first playoff, the Bills fans donated to the Bengals quarterback charity. And it's like, oh, what a cool thank you gesture. That sports fans can be rowdy sometimes. They can be opinionated and crude, but to have their thank you gesture be to donate to his charity, and it was just a really class act.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So where's Brian?
Sleeping, hopefully.
Good for him. Good for him.
He may be listening, but probably not.
I wouldn't be. If it was my day off.
Yes, it is Brian. Because, I mean, he gets up 3:30.
3:45 every morning.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get up at 4 because I gotta, not today, but I'll normally do my makeup, have a cup of coffee, but 3:45, I'm like,
I'm still getting up at 3 every day.
really?
Yeah.
But what time you doing to bed?
9.
See, I don't go to bed till 12 or 1. And I get up at 5.
Like 10 or 11. And I'm like, how do you drive?
Does he nap in the middle of the day?
I don't, yeah. I guess you just
He
keep
goes to bed early.
I
Yeah.
get up, I go work out at 4, and go home the rest of my day.
Get it out the way, yeah.
Yep. Get me habits. They're hard to break.
That's not me. I get up about 6:15. Just kind of amble on through the day, kind of stuff. I watch the 10 o'clock news and fall asleep right after that.
That was hard for me to get used to when I moved down here because the news is at 11 o'clock in New York. And you went to bed after the news. So it's like 10 o'clock news, like, whoa. I'm not ready to go to bed yet.
Yeah. Film at 11. So basically, just wanted to talk about the different services that you guys do. How do people
Well, at Christmas, families see each other. So now is when they start to see the decline in mom or dad or grandma. And so, that's what I would kind of intro it into.
Sure.
And then, as you see those declines, it's the best thing is early detection. There is medication today that can make a difference. And so you can come and get a memory screening, and then we have all the other programs I can talk about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And a question I'll ask is, how do I tell the difference between they're getting old and you just kind of forget things when you get older versus when did it actually start to transition into Alzheimer's? How do you tell the difference?
Keys are in the refrigerator. That's the difference. It's a different kind of memory loss. They don't initially not recognize people. It's that they're placing things in inappropriate places. They're not remembering something you said 10 seconds ago. Those kind of things. So um, pretty common first signs. They sometimes they get lost. Like if they've gone to church the same way every day, every Sunday for years, and all of a sudden they don't know how to get home. Those are typical, cues that this is not normal memory loss.
How long does this one go to?
We're just about to start.
How long does it go to?
Oh, till 7:50. Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. As we've been telling you all morning, Brian's off getting his much needed rest. This is Haggai the second
And Haggai the third.
sitting in, and we are the host of Tech Gumbo, so we're filling in. But right now, we're being joined by Barbara Auten from the Alzheimer's Services of the Capital Area. Barbara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, a lot of people, especially this time of year, start finding out different things. And, you have elderly relatives and things start going on. What are some signs, or what are some of the things that the Capital Area Alzheimer's Services can do?
Well, it's right after the holidays, and families gather around the holidays. And this is a typical time of the year where families see decline in grandma or mom and dad, and so they start to wonder: is this normal cognitive behavior, or is this really something else? And so, typical symptoms that it's not normal memory loss is they placing things in inappropriate places. The keys are in the freezer, or um, their clothes don't go in the laundry hamper. They get they get they hang them up again, or they don't change their clothes right away, or they don't want to shower. It's different, typical difference in that I just forgot where I put my keys. That's very key to noticing the differences in the cognitive behavior. So a lot of programs that we offer will help, and early detection is really important now because we do have medications that can address it.
That's so great that we're getting to the place where one, we're able to notice these things, and then two, we're able to provide medication. Are there other things that if I notice this in a relative, how can I talk to them about this? Because no one wants to hear that they're on that decline. How do you broach this topic? How do you be sensitive about it? How do you work with them once they've realized that about themselves?
We suggest that they start with a memory screening, and the doctors are getting a little bit better about asking for memory screenings to get a baseline memory screening. We use the mini mental status exam, which is very short, and it gives you a typical score of up to 30 points. And if it's below a certain level, we recommend people see their doctor to get a good study or a good score on their mental cognitive ability. And so that's a place to start. And then asking your doctor, to give you a memory screening so that you have a baseline. Everybody at 60 should get one. And it typically hasn't been administered, but it should be now that they're realizing early detection is so important, because now they have infusions that can clear the beta amyloid out of the brain, that can delay the onset. And that's so important. If you have 5 years of better quality of life, that's huge. So it's expensive, but it is a tool. And there are other medications that slow it down with early detection. But that is key, is the early detection. So none of us want to think we're getting older and we're losing our cognitive ability. But it is normal to lose some. And as you see that it's not the typical memory loss, then it's important to really get checked. To talk about it with your family members, you would just, introduce that, hey, mom, I've seen a few little things that are making me concerned. Maybe we should go get a memory screening. Our office can do a memory screening, and we have program coordinators who can help people walk that path with their loved ones, from educational programs to support programs to Charlie's Place Respite Center.
So let's talk about Charlie's Place, because I've been over there to your office before, and that's a really nice kind of set off of the side and wonderful space.
Charlie's Place is a respite center. So the whole purpose is to give the caregiver 6 hours of respite time to do whatever they need to do, because they have a 24/7 duty of caring for their loved one. So Charlie's Place gives the person with Alzheimer's or memory impaired dementia, we don't distinguish, but it gives them a purposeful day. We have 3 centers now, one in Gonzales, one here in Baton Rouge, and one in Baker, and we were named the Governor's Office on Disability Affairs Service Provider of the Year. So we provide activities, and they're all different. Each center is different, because it's person-centered care. It's based on the clientele's likes and dislikes. So in Gonzales, they like to garden a lot, and they like to do crafts. So they do a craft almost every day. In Baton Rouge, we have a lot more men, and they're into sports. So there's a lot of talk about sports, and they play the Wii games, and they're out in the garden golfing. We have a putting green, and so, and then in Baker, they're our newest center, and we're just kind of discovering where what they like to do. They do a lot of crafts and a lot of music up there. But it's basically giving them a purposeful day. It's a lot of fun, actually, for them. I love to hear them in my office because it's right next door to our offices. On Mondays, we have a therapist who comes in, and they do a lot of dancing and physical chair exercises, but they always end with the YMCA. And so I hear them jumping and doing all the signs, and I can hear them singing as loud as possible. And to know that they're having a great time is just it's a wonderful feeling for me, to lead an organization that can help people in that way.
And you also do support groups too.
Yeah, right now we have 9. Some are online, some are in person. We have a new support group this year. It's called the Brain Cafe, for those who are actually affected by Alzheimer's, not caregivers. The others are caregiver support groups. But the Brain Cafe is for those who are mild cognitive impaired, have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, who want to be in a group with other people who are at that same stage they are, and can share their challenges and their ways of coping with things.
That really does seem like a great place to be. And that, a lot of times, whenever you are first diagnosed with these things, or maybe while a loved one is diagnosed with these things, it can feel isolating. And if you don't know someone else who already has this, if you're not part of that community, just it can feel overwhelming. It's just to have other people to talk to be able to go and share these problems. It's also difficult sometimes, that just, having all these complicated emotions about a loved one, and how do you talk through, I'm frustrated, I'm mad, I can't believe I have to do this, but also I do still love them. And those are really tough things that are in tension. And so to be able to say those things out loud that, if you wouldn't normally say those, that can really help us people work through that difficulty.
The support groups are really important. And we have a great support group newsletter with a lot of information every month that goes out, that if they don't participate, and some people don't like to share but like to listen, they can get a lot of information from the newsletter, tips, sharing stories, and resources. And we provide a lot of resources in the community. We want to be the one-stop shop, so that when they come to us, we have everything that they may need, the resources in the community that can help them to help them cope every day, because it is a challenge. And often the caregiver will pass before the person with Alzheimer's because of the stress. It's very stressful to care for a loved one with Alzheimer's, because you start to become isolated. When you talked about isolation, the circle that you live in gets smaller and smaller as it advances, and as the more care is required for the caregiver, they become isolated. That's why the respite time is so important, to allow them time to get out and do what they need to do. It is a new statistic that a person caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's has a 65% more chance of developing it themselves. Yeah.
Is there research as to what's happening there? Is it something that's, is there more about that?
There's not a lot about that study yet, but it's because of the isolation, and they put their loved one's care above their own health. So it's really detrimental. The disease typically lasts 8 to 10 years. So the first stage, they need some care. They need watching. They need to help, get help. They might need help dressing. They may help, showering, or remembering how to turn the remote on. But as it advances and they need more and more care, that caregiver really becomes isolated, and it's a 24/7 job.
So then it sounds like being part of a community, being active in a community, seeing other people, talking to other people, that can be one of those things that is good practice in general across the board, but keeping those healthy social relationships, keeping your brain moving, keeping your brain functioning, maybe that's part of what you can do to extend your healthy life.
Absolutely. And as well as all of that, often the support groups become very good friends. And one support group, most of their loved ones have passed, but they liked getting together so much, they formed a book club. And so now we host the book club, and that book club actually came out to our walk and raised the most money.
Tell us a little bit about the walk.
The walk is an annual fundraiser. We have it out at Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's usually in October, right before Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and it's to raise awareness and funds to support all of our programs. And we're rebuilding it after COVID. It was, COVID tanked a lot of things, and the walk is one of them. And so we're rebuilding that. Prior to COVID, we had 7,000 to 8,000 people out at the walk. The last one we had about 2,000. So we're trying to rebuild that and create awareness.
I remember during COVID, we did the virtual walk.
It was real virtual too.
It really was.
We had about 50 people. It was an experience.
Yes, I remember that. That was fascinating times that we all lived through. So if people want to get more information, if they want to find out, get in touch with you guys, what's the best way for people to find out more about the Alzheimer's services of Capital Area?
Our website is alzbr.org, or you can call us if you're in the radio hearing distance, where you can call us at 334-7494.
Okay. And the website is just full of information, all the programs and
there's
services.
a calendar with all of the activities. We have educational programs like Making Sense of Sense, which is about resources and spending your money so that the caregiver doesn't spend down all of the money that they're going to need to take care of themselves. We have a risk reduction class that if you attend all three, we will pay for a screening that can give you direction on how to reduce your chances of developing the disease.
Barbara, thanks for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Good to go.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You bet.
Perfect. Happy to do it anytime.
Awesome. And who was it you recommend?
Brooke.
Brooke. Okay. I will reach out to her. You got to sit back in it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's wedged underneath there.
Yeah, give Brooke a call. She's
Okay.
there today, okay?
Will do.
Good retirement.
I hope. We'll find out. Good for you.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you.
Was his mic on? Okay.
I had to reboot the camera.
Okay.
Because y'all froze, and when I reboot the camera, it cut the sound off of Facebook. Like y'all been on the whole time.
Okay, because Byron just said he couldn't hear Haggai, but okay, no, that's fine. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Haggai and Haggai. Haggai 2 and 3.
Yeah,
the sequels.
I'm the sequel. He's the trilogy.
Well, he's your sequel.
He is my sequel.
Yep. Been there, done that. And it happens like that. It's really no.
Oh yeah.
It advances.
Oh yeah. We went through that in the past 24 hours. Mom had a meltdown yesterday morning. She lives in Cleveland, and she's in the independent side. She needs to be over in the system.
Yep.
Well, that's what she doesn't need that. She's fighting me really badly right now.
Yeah, it's like trying to get mine out of the house to move into assisted living.
Well, that took me 3 years to get her to move out of her house into the Cleveland just to be there. So
we should have done it right away instead of once my dad passed. We should have, but they wouldn't listen. You know, my 3 sisters know better because they couldn't face it.
Well, after my dad died in 2005, Mom tried to live in the house for 4 years in Morgan City. But all of her friends were dying and moving to Lafayette to be near their kids, and so she was becoming more and more isolated. So we moved her up here. We bought our house in Springville.
Yeah.
Great. But she was, but 3 years. She left a pot on the stove, and at the last second she saw it and realized, oh shit, okay. And that's when I'll move now. So she moved in to the independent. About 2 years ago, we took the keys away, and she still cusses me for that. But it's
flashbacks. It's all flashbacks. The beauty we had was when we were there, my kids were to the age of being able to drive. Granny, let me drive. Because they didn't want to ride with her because she'd go in her, you know how they have the bumpers at the end of the parking spaces? She'd go over. So they got scared. They would rather drive themselves and not know where they're going then.
So for about the past 4 or 5 months, my youngest has been going over there 5 days a week and drive her around.
Yeah.
Whatever, do which.
Do you know what we're doing next?
Good question. What do we want to do here?
We get into the we can talk about Australia.
Yeah, let's go back there.
Y'all talked about the EU yet with their move to go after American companies to meet their guidelines?
Oh, they've been doing that for a decade.
But it's supposedly ratcheting up big time again. I think there's new legislation proposed or something they were saying.
They're always doing that. I mean, we've been talking about when GDPR first came out, 2016, 2017, how much it was going to change things, and now it's
obscene.
Well, but at least there is
we can
legislation.
Control the world,
but there's no control here, and so okay, fine. Just give me, just tell me the rules. I'll but if there's no rules in things, the sands keep shifting on you, then.
Well, the EU wants to set the rules.
Because nobody else will. Well, I mean, if the U.S. passed any kind of legislation to make some rules, the rest of the world would follow that. But we can't agree on the time of day. And so the EU takes the lead, and everybody goes, oh, wow, look at the EU doing that. What the hell?
Sort of like California used to be the thing. Everybody would follow whatever California was doing. Now everybody's going the opposite direction.
Okay, everybody, welcome back once again. Good morning to Brian Haldane. Haggai the second. Sitting in for the vacationing Brian. We had kind of been doing a little bit of technology review for 2025. Some of the big stories we talked about on our show, Tech Gumbo. Heard weekends here at 11 o'clock on Saturday mornings, Sundays at 4 o'clock, and then on podcasts, anywhere where you get your podcast on any one of the platforms out there, go find us. They're all 22-minute segments, and it's a lot of fun. One of the big stories we've been talking about for a long time is social media and the impacts it's having on kids and people in general. And Australia jumped out and did something big this year.
This is a huge deal that Australia has officially banned social media for people 16 and under. This is TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, and there's a couple more.
Hop on that mic. I don't know what's wrong with mic too.
They have banned social media for kids under the age of 16. Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, the streaming platform. There's a couple more out there, but this is a huge ban, and this is something that a lot of people are becoming more and more frustrated with social media in general. That as an adult who has grown up on social media, I've spent the past 15 years learning how to manage it, but for someone who's 12, 13, 14, and this is being thrown to you for the first time, it is a ton to manage. And so Australia is saying, look, not until you're 17 can you start using it.
So this law went into effect December 10th, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're going to cave, they're going to shut it down, they're not going to really go through it." Well, they are now 20 days into this ban, and the early reports are there was initial teeth gnashing and wailing by the seventh graders across Australia, but then shortly thereafter, people started saying, "Well, it's okay. I don't have to have it." The same way that these schools around the U.S. have been taking away cell phones for kids, or not letting them have their phones between 8 and 3, and how all of a sudden the kids have enjoyed school. They're doing better with their grades. They're paying attention. The same thing with the social media. They're not being distracted in schools.
Oh, and my guess is that, this is not a panacea. This is not the silver bullet that they're not all going to go out and play in the streets again. But it doesn't have to be the one-stop shop. It can be part of a number of things that are done to, get kids and teens playing in person together, hang out in groups again, and not just, watching screens all day. But we've seen so much data come out that there was the book published by author Jonathan Haidt called The Anxious Generation, which really documented a lot of these things, looking at how, kids today are just showing so many worse outcomes across so many different mental health aspects. And it's really, really easy to point the finger at social media here.
Certainly when you were growing up, it was a whole lot different. And, because it was just Facebook. Now you've got so many total platforms out there. But we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to do this day in history.
So I don't know what's going on with mic two. I had it in A, which is mic two. Comrades is when we go out in the field. I'll put either one, and he went. So they were right.
Okay.
Can we test it?
Let me see something. Let me put you in offline, and let me just see something. I don't know why you would need to be in offline. Say something.
Testing.
Take you out of offline. All right.
Testing.
Let me put you back in B. Check.
Testing.
No, can't get you on. Is there a button think that needs to be on that side.
I mean, the blue light is on. There, I've hit the on button. I'm adjusting the dial here.
Well, that's just for your headphone volume.
Oh, okay.
Testing.
Testing.
So mic 2 is out of condition, right?
That's just a cough button.
No, that's just a button. That's what I was looking at. Let's plug them back in. Let's see.
Try again.
Yeah, try again.
Testing.
That can be one more time. Just a sec. All right, check again.
Testing.
We used this mic when we had to, when Brian was in, what was he in Brian for? The charter school on the road. And that's the only time we'll ever use mic 2 is to fly him in. But when I have you in A, mic 2, you should be hot, and you're not hot. Okay, we'll just share mics. I know.
That's fine.
I mean, you could always use this one, but they won't be able to see you.
Nah.
Yeah.
We can share a mic when we're talking to Mike.
When you talk to me, I'll go over there so they don't have to.
Oh, come on, Mike. Yeah, I have in studio Mike Manning. They'll be like, "Where's Mike?"
You got to change it to somewhere in the studio.
He's somewhere.
He's here. But we
Yeah,
don't know
he's here.
exactly-
We don't know where
but
he's
you
at,
don't know
though.
exactly
Yeah,
where.
right.
In spirit. LeBron James is born today. The USSR was established.
Oh boy, gotta love technology,
No, you only love it when it works.
right?
Well, but it's
Right.
tight.
Let me go ahead and email Kate.
Gas inspections.
It's like Ginger freaked out last night. I transferred all my contacts from my work phone to my personal phone. You did something. Just because I'm technologically challenged does not mean I can't do some stuff. I can screw it up big time too, though.
So you're the, which one are you gonna stay with?
I'm going to stay with that one.
All right.
That one's going away. There's going to be an email coming out from me to everybody saying that. And that 359 that goes away too.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a new contact card. And send it. I can shoot it all.
The 933-1942. That's gonna be your number.
Yep, that's the personal.
Oh, and you're gonna create a Gmail account, or do you have an email, or
I have an email.
okay? When you send it.
I'm going to create a Gmail also.
Okay, I emailed Kate, Paul, Michelle, Brian. Hey, y'all, mic 2 is not working.
It's supposed to
Make it
work.
First thing they're gonna ask is it plugged? Yes, it's plugged in.
I got to try the other end.
The 4 feet.
No,
Hello.
shit. No, the disconnect and reconnect. That.
Huh. Let's just try. Hold on. Let's just see. Why not? Check real fast. Just throw it out the window. I have this day ready. I can handle this day.
Go for it.
I'm gonna come to you first up.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Mornings with Brian Haldane. Without Brian Haldane, I'm Haggai the second. We've been filling in for the vacationing Brian, who's been getting his beauty rest, we hope. Not saying that he really needs it, but yeah, who doesn't? So it's that time of the day where we go back in history.
All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see.
We're having some technical difficulties here on the
Check, check. 1, 2.
We're going through a meltdown moment.
Right. What is going on, y'all?
All right. Well, while we're working through
Check,
that,
check. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm gonna email you my this day.
We've got. Go ahead, start you.
yeah, we are doing this day in history, and
That
so
might's not working either.
this is December 30th, and there have been some big cool things that have happened
Hi
on
guys,
this day
it's
in
working.
history.
That's it. Just
So, the sit-down strike in Flint, Michigan began on this day in 1936. It was one of the first strikes in the U.S. By automotive workers.
Another one that's pretty near and dear to my heart is on 1924. Edwin Hubble first announced the existence of other galaxies. Check, check. Is this one working? So we're down to one mic here. All right, it's going to be a fun rest of the show here on the Mornings with Brian Haldane. So the on this day in 1924, the existence of galaxies was first formally announced. Edwin Hubble of the Hubble telescope fame was the scientist who put that together.
Okay, so as far as other big things that went on, a fire broke out in Chicago theater in 1903. It was the deadliest theater fire in U.S. history. And let's go on to birthdays. Birthdays. Tiger Woods was born today. Patti Smith was born in 1946. LeBron James, 1984. And Layla Ali was born in 1977. Barbara Walters died on this day today. Dawn Wells, the Japanese Prime Minister Hideki Tojo. Oh, he was born today, not but Rasputin was murdered on this day back in 1916. National Baking Day. Okay, we'll go with that. That's bacon. Oh, bacon. National Bacon, as in pork product. I've heard baking. Okay, so now that we're down to one mic and we're gonna figure this out. We've got a fire drill going on here, and we'll be back. We're gonna take a quick break and see what's happening. Thanks. We'll be right back.
what is going on?
Sorry, gang. We
Okay, but 3's been plugged in.
yeah.
Okay. We're gonna figure this out. Stand by. Let me see if Katie's here. Hang on.
We broke Talk 107.3. May not be asked back.
No, it's like as soon as we started unplugging everything else. I know. I'm seeing if Katie's here first before I call Paul.
Well, if he was here,
It's that
He
week,
would already
this
been.
feral
Yeah.
week or whatever they call it, or whatever they're calling it now. And it's the Twix week or whatever, where nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
I have y'all both in B. Mic 3, mic 4 is in B. What is going on? Your call has been. Let me call Paul. I know they see the fire on the air. Come on, y'all. Paul's number. You know what? I'm gonna call Michelle. Somebody's going to answer the phone.
Maybe.
Yeah, we might just have to do this on that mic, y'all.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm about to have to come back to y'all.
So-
Take a quick break.
Well, we went early, so
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. I love how nobody answers the phone, y'all. Yeah, we'll do it on that one.
that's fine.
Comrade C.
You want to go over there and try them again for us?
Yeah, I guess let's try one more time, y'all.
Got it?
Oh, Michelle, hang on. Hey, Michelle, you're on speakerphone. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, what's up? Hey, I'm sorry to wake you up. I don't know Paul's number. We were trying to get mic 2 to work. And as we were tinkering with mic 2 to get it to work, all the other mics just started failing. And so now we're down to one mic in the talk studio. And I'm pushing the buttons. It's in, so mic 1, I'm an A, and I'm not coming through the board. Now, I think the only one we have working is mic 4 in the talk studio, which is fine. We could do the rest of the show like that, but.
Yeah, just do what you can because the show's almost over.
We'll work through it. We'll work through it. We're flexible. There's nothing else. Okay, we're back. This is Haggai Davis sitting in the middle of the whirling dervish that is the Mornings with Brian Haldane show, and we normally have 4 microphones to work from, but we're working on one today. So as you work with us, because this is the amateur hour, you got the 2 amateur guys, and you got the professional back here who's trying to figure it out, and all 16 arms are swinging around pushing buttons, and nothing's really working just right. But Breland, we're going to get through it. So we will. All right. So we're being joined right now by Mike Manning, the retired CEO from the Baton Rouge Food Bank, to talk about your experiences over the time when you ran the food bank.
Well, that'll be an interesting discussion because there's a lot that happened between hurricanes, the flood, the pandemic. Just a few interesting things to, some real fun experiences, some interesting things that happened that people won't believe. I've been asked to write the book on it from the CEO of Feeding America. Says, write the book on this because nobody will believe it if you don't do it.
So the first thing you did when y'all moved from the location off of was it Choctaw to South Choctaw, let's go through that.
Well, we were very fortunate to work with Mr. Albert Frankel and Frankel Company when they were going out of business, and they made us a great offer for that facility. It's a 152,000 square foot facility. We were in a 29,000 square foot facility, so it was great for us to be able to move, and it was all thanks to the Frankel family, because for what we would have had to pay for a 50,000 square foot facility, we were able to get that 152,000 square foot facility because the family had 2 pieces of that facility in trusts, and those trusts donated the property to us. So that's really the only way we could get there, and it was a game changer for what we could do at the food bank and the volumes we could put through until 2016 when we had a little water problem, about 4 feet in the facility, and then we had to shut down and move. We got back to about 70% of capacity in 4 days after the flood, and we're back in the facility, at least the warehouse portion, within a month. So we were very pleased about our ability to turn that around.
What kind of technology do you have in this facility? You got any cool stuff happening on that angle?
Well, we had we had everything on drives in the got in the water. We were in the midst of moving uh, to the cloud with Haggai helping us, as a matter of fact, and we were able to get back up to the cloud, and we've been in the cloud ever since. Really taking advantage of uh, the flexibility it offers, and also the ability to not have to worry about floodwaters again.
Yeah, as back in March of 2016, you had reached out to me, and we were looking at your backup situations because y'all were still doing manual backups. And I recommended going to a cloud based solution because you had three servers. One server was a foot off the ground, a second server was 2 feet off the ground, and the third server was 3 feet off the ground. And so we put in a cloud based backup solution so that when the 5 feet of water came into the food bank and all three servers were just dead at that point, we could spin up the virtual servers in the cloud and the food bank could keep going.
Yeah, and it really the only way we could keep operating was because of that. So we were able to get back online and continue to do the work and respond to the flood. But we've done lots of things with technology. We use barcoding in the warehouse now. We've installed a bulk packaging operation and doubled that line to be able to reduce the cost of product. So there's been a lot of advances over that time. But I think the biggest thing is the way the community always rallied around the food bank. There was always whatever the need was, whether it was a food shortage, whether it was a disaster, whatever it was, this community always rallied around us. And that was really what made us successful was this community.
So one of the things that, every time there's been a hurricane or some kind of disaster, I know the food bank is always called in to MOSEP or GOSEP. Talk about that for us.
Well, I had a lot of exposure with
One, can you define MOSEP and GOSEP?
It's the Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness and the Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. So, as a voluntary organization that responds to disaster, we are connected with them very closely. And, personally, I was the head of the National Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. I've been involved in state, and that's where all the disaster responding organizations get together, the nonprofits get together to figure out what we do, how we do it, and to make sure we aren't trying to feed the same people at the same place at the same time to make sure the services get around throughout the entire service area or wherever it's most needed to address the issues.
So you're called in. You've got one of the desk in these offices with all these different emergency preparedness organizations because people still get hungry, even though the hurricane's come and gone. No power, people still need to eat, and so the food bank jumps in and helps make sure that people do get something to eat.
Well, and that's the key. It's really a situation where food banks deal with the disaster of hunger on a daily basis. Because people are dealing with a disaster if they don't have food. And when disasters happen, all food banks all across the country step up to feed more people. Whoever needs food at that point is the target of getting assistance. If we can make arrangements for hot food with a partner, it's great. If you can just provide food so that people have some sustenance to be able to understand and bear the strain that they're going under, that's the key. And that's it's all about helping those people who need the help. That's all the nonprofit community as a whole cares about in response to a disaster.
If you could say your favorite thing from your time in the food bank, what was it?
Well, probably the favorite thing is whenever somebody would say thank you. You help somebody and say thank you so much, or somebody would come back and say, "Hey, here's some money. Last year you helped me, help the next person," and that was the real reward. But probably the most interesting experience was when an undersecretary of the Department of Agriculture came in after Katrina, and he said, "What can I do to help?" And I told him, "Well, you can release all this federal food and let us distribute it and then replenish it." And he goes, "Okay, it's done." And I turned to the regional director for USDA, and he goes, "Mike, what he told you, I don't know that he can do it, but he told you, so you do it, and we'll figure it out on the backside." So just some of the little anecdotal things that come into play that allowed us to provide food that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to use.
So you've gone through all these hurricanes, you've gone through the floods, and you know a lot of people don't understand the food bank doesn't actually hand out food directly to people. You work through pantries. How does the working through the pantries with all these disasters? How do you keep them going?
Well, we just stay in contact with them. The whole point of that pantry system is to provide different vehicles of distribution to get food out where it's needed. And it's more important for people in those neighborhoods uh, to have a service in that neighborhood because those people know who in that neighborhood needs the assistance and who doesn't. We can't, an organization can't know that from a central location. Um, but the pantries are key. But during disaster, we change a lot of our distribution mode, and it changes to a direct distribution, going to where people need the food and just bringing it to them and helping distribute it. Hopefully, working with the pantries in the surrounding parishes, especially to facilitate that. And it's all about bottom line getting food to the people who need it.
It sounds like all this is a pretty complex logistical operation. Do you guys learn it all from Amazon or FedEx? Do they learn it all from you?
Well, I think food banks are trying to learn from FedEx and Amazon, and we're trying to tap into some of their resources, but also looking to partner with those organizations for ways that they can help the people that we're trying to help. Also, whether it's with SNAP assistance to get food directly to people, to help with direct deliveries to homes for the elderly. Those types of situations is where we're looking to partner. We've all been looking to partner for years, and it's really just in its early stages of emerging as to potential solutions.
So the Baton Rouge Food Bank, the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, because it's not just Baton Rouge. It's a 12 parish, 11 parish. And how many tons of food do y'all distribute a year, and how many people does that touch?
Well, you're talking about 13, 14 million meals a year, or meal equivalents. And Elizabeth Pfeiffer is the new CEO there. She's going to do a phenomenal job. She's got a great team in place. I'm excited to see where the organization is going to go now, and it's great to be kind of out of the way and get out of their way and let them flourish and let Liz take them to newer heights.
So now that you're coming into retirement, I know you've told me you're not actually just going to go, sit on the sofa and watch, YouTube videos. What are you going to do now that you're handing off the baton?
Well, I'm going to get out of Liz's way and try to do whatever I can to support her, because the best thing I can do is it's kind of like having a child and watching them grow and letting them go out and exactly and do their thing and be successful. And that's what I hope for the food bank is nothing but the success. And I'm not going to be in the way or a hindrance to any of that. I want it to be the best it possibly can be because I know how important it is to the community. Well, as for me, I'm figuring that out. My wife has been retired for 3 years. I've been retired for almost 2 months now, and it's awkward at the holidays and stuff. It's a little more challenging. It's not really getting back in the swing of things, but we'll see what shakes out in the new year. I'm not gonna just disappear. I feel I have to do some things. I have to contribute. Otherwise, why are we here?
So the new CEO, you said you're really excited about her. Has she talked about her vision for the food bank? Where does she want it to go?
Well, I think she's going to be on the show in the 8:30 hour, and she'll be calling in, and she'll be able to give you a better idea of that from herself. I don't want to speak for her; it wouldn't be my place, because it's really her show now, and I'm excited about what she's going to do.
So going back to your time, you started off in 2005 with 2004 with the food bank. So 21 years of doing this. I know you had a small staff back when. You got a pretty good sized staff. The food bank has really, really grown to having seen in just how much space has been added on in the warehouses, the multiple warehouses now, where it's 400,000 total square feet.
No,
we're
we're
still only the 150. Okay, but it's still a massive, enterprise that you guys are running.
Yeah, and it's the beauty of where the organization is it's ready for a change. It's ready for that next step, and that's why my getting out of the way will help Liz and that team take it to another level with new thoughts, new innovations, new approaches. So it's really, when you start talking about moving from a 29,000 square foot facility with your warehouse and your freezer and your cooler, that's total. It's to go to where they are now. They're really positioned to do a lot and really have a strong impact in the community.
Okay, so Mike Manning has also been very active in the community. We both served the Rotary Club and still enjoy our memberships there. What else is going on with Mike in the community?
Well, that's yet to be determined. I've got some things I'm looking at and discussing with some people about trying to share some of my nonprofit experience with some organizations that may be struggling or maybe looking to take another step. So it's really going to be situational. It's like somebody asked me, "Well, you going to help with other food banks across the country?" I said, "Yeah, but I'm not going to do it in North or South Dakota in January or February." So it's going to be selective. It's going to be where I can have impact and where I can have a positive impact more than anything else.
And work on that book.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that happens. It's just one of those things of when the CEO of Feeding America, Claire Babineau-Fontenot, who's actually from Opelousas, says, "You need to write the book in your experience." I'm like, "Well, who's going to buy it?" She goes, "Well, I would." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but you've been in Feeding America. You're close to it." So it's, it could be a kind of a cleansing experience, if you will, of all the things that happened and all the experiences, the opportunity to meet former President Clinton, the opportunity to meet John Travolta and his wife when Oprah's Angels came in. It's, some really cool things. And it wasn't because it was Mike Manning. It was because I was the CEO of the food bank.
And the food bank has such a great team over there. They are really dedicated, and I've enjoyed just being on the peripheral of it, helping with the IT for a long time, and to see what all happens, the dedication of the staff, and it's been cool to watch the evolution of through the years of working with you guys, and so I'm just really proud and thankful that I've gotten to see it and watch what's going on. You know, kind of summarize everything for us. Your time and what all have really been doing.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like when they first hired me. They told me they were looking for somebody with one of three things: somebody with food bank experience. I didn't have any. Somebody with social service experience. I didn't have any. And somebody with nonprofit experience. I didn't have any. And they hired me anyway. Well, when Katrina happened, I understood why they picked me, because we changed the concept from, the warm and fuzzy side of running a business to actually running it as a business and maximizing every donor's dollar. And that's the culture that's been built. That's the culture that Liz is going to continue. And really, that will make the difference and make the community still support the success of the food bank.
Well, Mike, I just really want to thank you for coming in and spending some time with us, and for everything you've done with the food bank. It's been such a treasure to the greater Baton Rouge area, to our 11 parishes, and to all the people. Thank you for your efforts. It's made a huge difference.
Well, it's really been an honor for me to do it, and to really get to enjoy the success we've had, and to get to see it grow from where we were to where it is now, and where it's going to go. I'm really excited about where the organization will go with this new leadership.
And when we get back from this break, we're hopefully going to be talking to the new CEO. She's supposed to be calling in. So we'll take a break here and get back to you guys. This is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3.
We had a stand-up routine.
I should be able to get the phone on. It's the mics that aren't working. So
we'll find out.
Paul's here. He'll fix it. Thank you. you, Mike, for coming in.
Thank y'all. Well, yes, stick around to just make the introduction kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, go ahead. Yeah, Kate's like, do you have A? Do you have? I said, Kate, I got all that. I said, I'm telling you, it ain't working. Do I need to call her or she's gonna call me?
I gave her the number to call.
Okay. I'll see you light up. So you remember me from the zoo, right? Yep. And it was a hard decision. I didn't want to give it up, but Michelle offered me a full-time role, and you always go back to what you know and you love.
Yep.
And
also,
I met Liz. She's phenomenal.
full time does make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm Colleen Green.
Yep. And one job, that's what I took. I'm like, if I keep going 80 miles an hour,
Yep.
it'll give me a heart attack one day.
Mhm.
So I was like, it was Mike 2, and now Mike 1, 2, and 3 is not working. And Kate goes, what?
At least we got the one mic.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, Kate, this is fine. But I was like, can we fix it before Friday? Because we're doing the best of show. It's tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Wednesday. Tomorrow, Thursday.
yeah, did you see Cumbie got tased
Kate did say.
to show it? To demonstrate what the impact of a taser. He was the one
Who
that took Sonny Cumbie, the coach.
Oh, wow.
Because Kate's like, if the cough button has some fuzzies in there, it'll hold the cough button down. I was like, oh, there she is. Good morning, Liz. Hey, yes, I hear you loud and clear. We're going to come to you in probably like 2 minutes, okay? Okay. And you know how to answer on that side. Okay.
Do I?
So what you going to do?
Oh, I just pushed the green button.
Nope. I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to push this button right here.
Oh, that button. Okay.
When it's time to go live.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if that works.
Y'all, I'll run. I'll be like, I'm out. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Liz is great.
Mhm.
I didn't know you had zero experience, Mike, and they hired you.
Mhm.
So
Well,
where did you come from?
I came from for-profit community. I was a finance person for
Business
Cajun
and
Electric
consumer.
Power Cooperative.
Yes,
The new-
yes.
Okay, and became Louisiana Generating, part of NRG Energy.
And then what
I started out in banking years ago.
That's a fascinating story. I never knew that.
From banking to food banking.
Yeah, different bank. You're covering.
You knew how to run a business model.
Mhm.
That's why they hired you.
Yeah.
And so when things really came to crisis,
That's like everybody says, what did you do when you saw the 4 feet of water in the facility? I said, I called my general contractor. What? I said, I needed men, I needed equipment, I needed it there as soon as the water was out of the facility.
right? You just figured it out.
And sterilization began.
Yeah. Pressure washed the entire place, disinfected it, and then had to dry it. And the drying took the longest. $2.5 million worth of cleanup.
And then had all kind of Cisco
I
equipment
broke it, Kay.
shipped in.
Yep.
I know. Look, all my buttons are how they should be. Two never worked for us. Two never worked. And then once we started tinkering with everything, it's like it all went to.
Okay, everybody, this is Haggai Davis sitting in for Brian. Normally this would be the Brian Haldane, the 180 Pros studio, but this has really become chaos headquarters for the morning. We've got all kind of people just waiting to go reboot the whole system as soon as we go off the air. But thank you for being with us. And right now, we've been talking with Mike Manning, the retired CEO of the food bank, but now we're bringing on the new CEO, Liz. This is Haggai Davis. Welcome to Talk 107.
Hi there. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. So, Mike's here. Mike, you want to introduce Liz to the community?
Well, I think the community already has a good idea of Liz. Elizabeth Pfeiffer is the new leader of the food bank, going to take it to great heights. And just like what we did at the food bank, I'm going to step out and let her take the spotlight and the microphone so that she can talk about her plans for the future of the organization.
Thanks, Mike. We appreciate that.
So, Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what all's been going on with you to where you've been and to where now you're taking on the role of the food bank.
Super. Well, I have lived here in Baton Rouge with my husband and 2 kids for the last 4 years. And professionally, I just finished up 19 years with Catholic Relief Services, which is the U.S. Catholic Church's relief and development organization. So many listeners probably are aware of Catholic Charities. So we're the sister organization of the Catholic Charities, and CRS works in over 100 countries throughout the world doing development programming like agriculture, health, water and sanitation projects, as well as the emergency and disaster response. So with CRS, I worked all over Africa and Asia. And then during COVID in 2021, my family, we settled back in Baton Rouge. It's where my parents and 2 of my brothers lived. And we were very happy to be back in Southern Louisiana, where we call home. And I'd worked remotely with CRS, doing mainly project management and into senior leadership roles with CRS. And recently was our director of workforce planning, so leading strategic work for the organization and all of our leaders. So I was really excited when this position came open with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank so that I could transition and pivot to more local work and making an impact here in our community.
That's incredibly exciting. So you mentioned that, you've worked around the world. What are some of those things that you've learned in all the different places that you're going to bring here to the Baton Rouge community?
Well, one thing that stands out is just how the communities in which we work, and we worked in local communities, obviously, throughout the world with CRS, and also here in our 11 parishes that the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank works in, that partnership is really important. And organizations like the food bank, we are able to do our work because of the pantries and the local partners that we work with. They are the hands and feet to the work that we do here in Baton Rouge, and they're the ones that help get the food out to those most in need. So relationships and partnerships are incredibly important, and building those and strengthening those partnerships to make sure that we understand the needs in the community, because those pantries and those partners see it, and they're, with our neighbors in need most often, that we hear those needs and we're able to respond to them. So that's, I think, one thing that's really universal throughout the work that I've done.
So we just spent the last segment talking with Mike and his tenure with the food bank. What are some of the things that you want to see, that there's some projects you want to advance and take the food bank to the next level with?
Great question. And I think, acknowledging I'm still a little bit new, just finishing up 2 months now after Mike's really incredible tenure. But I think one need that we see, and that I think will remain for many of our communities, is the need for greater education, and especially nutrition education. So that program was essentially cut last year in 2025 with some of the SNAP outreach and SNAP education funding, which unfortunately was reduced. And so we're going to be looking at a new strategy of how we elevate that back to a higher priority for us at the food bank and for others that we work with, potentially, leveraging others that are doing similar work in the community, but making sure that we're not just giving food where it's most needed, but also there is a focus on healthy and nutritious food, on food preparation, on food storage, etc. Because I think that can go a long way into ensuring that we're having an even greater impact in communities.
That's really interesting. Can you talk about maybe what this education will bring to the community as people are learning about this nutrition? How will that really advance what we're seeing on the ground?
So, I mean, it could be at many levels. It could be we're already in schools. We have a school backpack program, and we're going to be looking at expanding that into school pantries so that there is a pantry in schools. Not only are we reaching children that are most in need and families that are in need, but there are pantries in schools. And so within, that setting, a school setting, we can work with kids and teachers and administration and educators to enlighten them already about things that they're learning, the food groups, and how much importance there is to balanced meals, et cetera. So kind of partnering around messaging that's already going out and seeing where we can enhance that. At distributions that we already are doing, it's possible that we could be doing more in terms of the educational outreach during distributions, because oftentimes people come, they receive their food, or they'll go to a pantry and receive their food, and we could potentially have other services available there. And so what we are trying to do is just make sure that those that are coming to receive food are able to access it, but also able to prepare it to the best and make use of every single thing that they receive. And they know how to complement maybe beans and rice with other vegetables, fruits, etc. So we want to make sure that everyone is getting not just calories, but healthy calories.
So at the Rotary Club of Baton Rouge, we've stuffed some backpacks a couple of times.
Yeah.
What are some other projects like that where people around the community can do to help, not just coming to the food bank to sort food, but to do things more, local to where they are?
Well, we always encourage the community to do one of four things if they're able to, if they can give time. So yes, as you were saying, come to the food bank, give time, pack and sort food here at our facility. And number two, you can run a food drive. So we have great partnerships with clubs, with organizations such as Rotary or Kiwanis and many other churches and faith groups in the community that run food drives. And so thousands of food is donated to the food bank, and that is absolutely critical for us to continue to meet the needs of our neighbors. So in addition to giving time, you can give food, and then we're always very, very happy and grateful to receive money and financial contributions. So our website, brfoodbank.org, is where you can go and find more information about how you can give. We encourage, if you're able to contribute, to consider thinking about joining our Nourish 365 program. It's a program where you have an opportunity to give on a regular basis each month. And we're really hoping to increase the number of monthly donors in 2026. We've had a great success of that in 2025. And so we'd really love to see that number exponentially increase in going into 2026 with Nourish 365. So give time, give food, give money.
Now, when you say give time, people don't understand just how much time was actually given to the food bank, how many man hours, just of the volunteer workers that of coming into the food bank and sorting and packing. Talk about that program a little bit.
Yeah, so each day we have 2 sessions at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank where you can sign up to volunteer, and we allow community members, it could be high schoolers looking for service hours, or maybe you have a little extra time on a Saturday morning, or potentially you're, retired or semi-retired and looking for a way to give back, you can sign up for sessions to come and volunteer here at our location on South Choctaw. And we will put you to work. We will have you sorting food that's donated. So you might be moving boxes of mac and cheese and green bean cans, or we might be having you package food into small boxes. There's also opportunities if you're, would like to just sit for a bit and do some administrative work like stuff envelopes or stamps. We are greatly dependent upon these volunteers that come in on a regular basis. They help us keep our admin and overhead costs low. And we are able to, over the course of the year, use the volunteer hours that we receive each day to, like I said, keep our costs low, but also to just make the dollar that we receive go further to buy food. So I was going to give you a couple of stats. For 2024, we have our most recent stats, but we were able to, I think, have about over 14,000 hours that were donated, close to 15,000 hours that were donated, which is just an amazing amount in terms of the hands that help us get our food out to those in need and help us pack boxes to do that.
So you mentioned the website where people can find out more information. If I wanted to, run a food drive at my local business or local whatever, can I also go to that website to find out more about how to do that?
Yes, you can. So the same website, brfoodbank.org, get involved, and under get involved, you'll see information as well as under give food, what to donate, food and fun drive. You can click under food and fun drive and you'll find more information there. We love partnering with groups to do those type of food drives. They bring in tons of really needed resources.
Liz Pfeiffer, the new CEO of the Baton Rouge Food Bank, thanks for spending some time with us here on Talk 107.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cool. Down to one mic, y'all. So it did. They were right when they said for our first interview they couldn't hear you, but I swore I could hear you. That's why I took my headphones off. So I'll do what I can, y'all. You want me to still sing in that interview?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because even if it's just like the first segment when we were sitting there talking, just the two of us, I can use that.
You know what's crazy is for our Manhattan bit, they could hear me. My mic was working. Everything was fine until it's like we tried to fire up mic 2 for some reason. I don't know. Apparently they're going to have to reboot. I heard them saying something about it. I'm like, oh, fine.
You can't do that in the middle of the show.
Come on, Haggai.
I know. I've been doing this stuff way too long. You don't reboot a server in the middle of the day. Right. Not without giving everybody a lot of warning.
Well, also, at least...
Cade, we're sorry. I didn't mean to break it.
Is it something I did?
I'm sure.
Okay.
No, I have no idea.
I know. I was like, Kate, I texted Michelle. I said, I'm freaking out. And she goes, calm down.
At least it wasn't an easy fix where someone just walked in and said, oh, you just got to hit the on button.
I know. Or like,
That's what IT guys say.
or is it plugged in? Yeah.
And you try turning it off and on again.
Right. Yes, I did. I know Kate asked me that too. He's like, are you in? I'm like, oh, that's right, Kate. I said, I'm telling you.
The board has, I don't know how many, 12, 15 faders, and they can all be something else. You could have, a Ramsey feed on one, and then you could have the phones on the other or something. They're built just because you can double up things.
Oh.
And sometimes, like, we don't use them as much for that function anymore. Sometimes they get stuck on the other side, or somebody's cough button is stuck. Gets jammed. It happens upstairs. So
That makes sense.
we don't use the profanity delay. Just because Haggai just kept dropping F-bombs.
I know. Haggai like cursed the whole show, y'all.
Grew up in an oil field family. You learn to do that pretty early.
Here, get some FCC fines for this one.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know either. And I swear it was like we were tinkering with mic 2. All of a sudden, mic 1 and 3 went to shit too. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, so we're sharing mic 4.
Nothing to it. Just roll with the punches.
Thank God our phone worked. She was a good interview.
Yeah. She's going to be really good.
She comes from nonprofit, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Is it still cold as hell outside?
Currently 36, feels like 30.
Y'all. So that's what Haggai and I were talking about when you were going to make coffee. The cold up there is different. Like, that's what my husband was telling me, because he's like, the cold up there, he's like, if it's windy, it's cold. But when it's not windy, he goes, it's fine.
Yeah.
Truly. He's like, we could stand the cold up there.
It's not that humid cold.
In Manhattan, when the wind would blow, he's like, that's when it would.
Yes. But also, though, their entire infrastructure system is set up to handle cold. So all their buildings are thicker. Everything's designed to heat. And so whenever it gets down to 20 degrees, as long as you're inside, most places will have it be actually a pretty comfortable temperature.
Right.
Whereas here, everything's designed to release heat. And so, we have to crank the heater, but we have the thin walls and the windows designed to, have it chill. And so
that's like when we had that snow in January. I swear that I couldn't keep my heater comfortable enough. It couldn't keep up. It's the same. It's like up north, it could though.
Yeah. Well, even down to whenever you go to a restaurant, they'll bring you ice water, just tons and tons of ice water, and that's just common. Whereas in a New York City restaurant, they'll give you a glass this big, and you have to ask them to keep, hey, can I get more? Can I get more? As opposed to just constant water coming out.
And y'all don't really have ACs up there, do y'all? I mean,
it's a window unit.
It's a window. That's what he was telling me. He went out and he bought a window unit, and he put it in his window.
Yep.
Yeah. How many months a year do you leave your windows open?
We got like 4-ish minutes.
No, that's fine.
So y'all can just banter for the end of the show. Let's talk about our technical issues. Cade's up here. I can't talk to y'all, so. So when you head back home?
The 2nd.
Okay, so you have a good little time down here.
Yeah, it's been.
Y'all got record-breaking snow that y'all haven't got in years. Well, I think it was Friday.
Yeah, they got a good amount.
You missed off.
It snowed.
And it's still snowing, I think, up there. It snowed again today.
It snowed before I left, and so I've at least gotten one snowstorm of the year. But back in October, they were starting to say this is going to be a snowy winter. It's going to be a cold winter. It's going to be an early winter. But it also hopefully is going to end a little earlier, is what they're thinking too.
Right.
So
they said last night on the news, we're going to have a dry winter here.
No.
Okay, everybody. One last time for the day. This is Haggai the 2nd.
And Haggai the 3rd.
And we're coming to you live from Chaos Central, where 3 of the 4 mics have already taken the rest of the year off. I mean, just checked out. They're
Nope, I'm still not working.
no. Brilliant's over there trying to find microphones that work, and Cade's been walking around. We've had Paul, the engineer, coming through, and they're all like, "Come on, IT guy, just you got to reboot the system." But you can't do that in the middle of the show.
Yeah, I think we've been doing this enough times. Not all of them are going to go well. And that if you haven't been doing it long enough for something to go terribly wrong, you've been doing it long enough. So I think it's a good milestone for us.
Yeah, when you're trying to, have 3 people sharing a microphone, flipping back around, it's how adaptable are you to chaos? And, this has really been kind of fun.
I've kept the show on the air.
Breland has done such a great job keeping us on time, keeping us on the line. And so that, we're just sitting up here, a couple of chimps kind of, yapping on.
The phone interview worked. And that was really important that, having that happen well, so excited for the new CEO of the food bank. So glad that at least something went right.
Yeah, and then having Barbara come in from the Alzheimer's services, we didn't have to worry about the phone situation because she was in studio, as was Mike Manning, but still passing the microphones back around. It this is live radio, and this is where you got to be creative and adaptive, and it's really really kind of fun. But we've had a lot of fun today. We've talked about the tech gumbo segments that we've done through the years. We've talked with Mike Manning, we've talked with Barbara Auten, and had a lot of fun today.
The audience can't hear me, but can y'all give us what to look out for in Tech Gumbo in 2026? Are we going to see more AI?
Oh, I think, if I had to make two big predictions for 2026 in technology, I would say the first one is expect the war between OpenAI and Google's Gemini to continue on, and expect more robo-taxis. Expect Waymo to be coming to a road near you sometime soon.
The one prediction I would make is that we're going to stop talking about AI like it's something new. It is really going to start becoming, like we talked about very early on in the show this morning, it's just now part of what we do. It's not going away. You can't stick your head in the sand and hope that we stop talking about AI. Or AI is here, and it's a tool. You've got to learn to use it, learn to not be afraid of it. You can't break it, but the more you use it, the more it becomes a tool that you can master. If you hide from it, it's going to hurt you.
You also need to figure out what it can do and what it can't do, what it's good at, what it's bad at. And really the only way is just sit there and go to gemini.google.com or go to chatgpt.openai.com and just type into the box and see what comes back.
And look, there's more than just ChatGPT and Gemini. There's Claude, there's Perplexity, there's all kinds of different systems. And you'll hear about them all on Tech Gumbo or Cup of Tech Gumbo with Brian here on Talk 107.3 FM.